On December 12th, the 22nd year of Water Blue Star, Soyu was still trying to process his death. He had just drowned, pulled straight into a river by some giant fish while out fishing. Then he woke up reincarnated inside a parallel world. Soyu was only 23 years old. Right now he was staring up at a sky stained a deep blood-red crimson. It looked like a total apocalypse, especially when a cold, robotic voice echoed from above. The voice ordered the entire world to fade to silence and return to the void. Then it congratulated the survivors on starting their brand new life. The moment those words finished, the planet he once called home completely vanished. It was wiped from the cosmos like it never even existed when Soyu woke up again. His head was incredibly hazy. He cursed under his breath, completely disoriented. He wondered where on earth he had transmigrated to this time, fighting to sit up. He took one good look around and realized he was completely doomed. He had landed right in the middle of a massive, endless ocean. The bare patch of dirt beneath him was barely 100 square meters. Total despair washed over him. Suddenly, a half-mechanical voice chimed in his ear. It welcomed him to the void sea, declaring this tiny island was now his. A screen popped up, highlighting several critical rules he desperately needed to read. First, every newcomer could claim one basic survival treasure chest. Inside were randomized survival items. They also received a basic fishing rod. It came with 10 pieces of bait, used to pull random objects from the sea. Plus, the island came with a 7-day shield of safety. He had to boost his prosperity score to unlock better perks and upgrades. Most importantly, every single player would awaken a special talent. It all depended on luck, with grades scaling from SSS down to F. Each unique power was left up to the player to figure out. Once the protection period expired, the voice warned total chaos could strike at any moment. Soyu knew he had to build up fast. The glowing screen faded away, and a new status panel immediately popped up in its place. He was a level 1 lord, age 23, with physical stats sitting at just 1. His spirit stat was 1.5, thanks to a temporary island bonus. His prosperity value was a big 0, but his talent line. That made him freeze, a SSS Insight talent, plus another unknown grade. This second one was called Double Happiness, and it was actually upgradable. Underneath, he noticed a trading channel and a chat system. So he wondered if double transmigration was the secret behind pulling 2 top-tier talents. Having 2 incredibly high-tier powers right from the start was insane. It felt like an absolute cheat code. Just then, the descriptions expanded. The Insight talent allowed him to scan everything and spot hidden information. His analysis power would scale higher as his physical strength increased. If it scanned something way too powerful, the talent would automatically hide itself. As for the Double Happiness talent, the perks were even crazier. It literally doubled all resources obtained from opening any basic treasure chest. Special chests, however, required beating a trial first to get double rewards. After reading both descriptions, he knew this combination was absolutely flawless. He decided to ignore the chat channels for now, shifting his focus elsewhere. He spots a golden novice survival treasure chest on the screen, along with it. Shadowy fishing rod beside it. The system asks whether he will claim the chest, the rod, and the bait. He confirms and the chest opens, his Double Happiness. Triggers automatically, and the system rewards him with 2 1.5-liter mineral waters and 2 5-packs of Kang Shuifu instant noodles. He is completely dumbfounded. The chest's golden surface had him hoping for something good, and instead it gave him instant noodles and cheap knockoffs at that. The items materialize right in front of him. The rod, 10 portions of bait, 2 large bottles of mineral water, and 10 packs of noodles. The descriptions roll out as he focuses. The mineral water is ordinary drinking water that prevents death from thirst in the early stages. The Kang Shuifu noodles tease that 1 pack is not enough and 2 are too much, with the system recommending hot water rather than chewing them dry. The novice fishing rod sits at 100 out of 100 durability, losing 1 durability per item fished, and can be upgraded with a fishing rod blueprint. Ordinary bait can lure ordinary half-star to 2-star wooden treasure chests from the sea, with a footnote explaining that 1 half-circle marker is half a star and 1 full marker is 1 full star. He weighs the rod in his hand a few times but does not start fishing yet. He taps into the 2 channels to see what the rest of the world is doing. The regional communication channel forms small regions of 5,000 people each, and each person can send 10 Free messages a day, with the top-ranked island getting 5 extra slots. The regional trading channel lets him put items up for trade or exchange, with a maximum of 10 trades per day, and the same 5 extra slot bonus for the top rank. He steps into the communication channel first, and a wall of messages is already scrolling. Most of the chatter is just people complaining about their novice chests. One survivor curses out the system for giving him pots, bowls, and plates instead of water and food. Another marvels that he got 3 kilograms of rice, but absolutely no water. A third asks the channel what a doll is supposed to do for him. Reading the wall, he tells himself getting water and noodles was actually quite lucky. The flow has not yet built into a screen-filling stampede, since most people have not fully reacted yet. After a quick scan, he pulls out and heads to the edge of his little island with the rod in hand. He does not cast immediately. He lets his insight talent settle on the water right in front of him. A line of text flashes across his eyes, telling him the treasure chest resources beneath this stretch of sea are scarce and common, recommending he change spots. He turns and walks to another edge. The next reading tells him the resources here are average, and again recommends a change. He pivots again, and finally a third reading tells him the resources beneath this water are abundant, recommending he fish right here. His spirits lift. He casts the rod gently. The float drops into the water and he sits cross-legged on the ground, gripping the rod tightly. Fishing takes patience, so his expression does not change as time slides by. Suddenly the float plunges. He jerks the rod and a small wooden chest surfaces, a 1-star common wood treasure chest, 10 pieces of ordinary wood inside, simply dragged ashore. His insight talent reads it for him before he has even pulled it onto the island. He tugs it ashore without resistance and touches it to confirm the prompt. The system asks if he wants to open it. He confirms, triggering his double happiness talent. He obtains 10 pieces of ordinary wood, multiplied by 2. The chest dissipates. The wood appears right in front of him, and the description says it is used to build houses, furniture, and even burn as fuel. He can also fish up a wooden house blueprint to build it himself, but 100 pieces of wood are needed for a 15-meter shelter. He is only a tiny fraction of the way there, so he keeps fishing. Returning to the boring rod and float routine, he scrolls the chat channel to keep himself completely sane. By now, his regional channel has finally come alive. One survivor complains about pulling up a damaged chest only to find a pair of waterlogged stinky socks. Another tries to console him, pointing out that his first chest only contained 2 pieces of bread. A third guy snaps at them, telling them to get lost. Then someone offers private stocking pictures for 1 bottle of water. The next message immediately calls the seller a delusional lowlife looking for a freebie. The channel is mostly a place to vent. He has already died once, immediately transmigrating right after that. So he is pretty thick-skinned, keeping an eye on his float. Suddenly, the float plunges hard. He yanks the rod, feeling some serious resistance underwater this time. It is totally different from that first chest. Thanks to his island bonus, his strength is twice what it used to be, but he is not stupid enough to break the rod with brute force. After using a few common fishing techniques, he brings the chest to the surface. His insight reads it as a 1-star wooden chest containing a Type 59 pistol and 8 rounds of ammo, with a warning to pull forcefully in short bursts. Not use raw brute force or it will unhook. His spirits lift even though he cannot see how a gun helps right now. Still, having one is better than nothing. Guided by his special insight, he avoids raw strength. He walks back and forth on the island, pulling the chest closer. With one final surge, he drags it onto the shore, opens it, and gets a Type 59 pistol with an 8-round magazine, 50-meter effective range, and decent lethality against ordinary beasts, recommending close range for maximum damage. Close range, and check this out, his double happiness gives him 2 pistols and 16 rounds. Real excitement rushes through him, since back in his peaceful era, normal people never handled actual firearms. He carefully loads the magazine, fumbles a little, raises the pistol, and aims at a nearby wooden stack. The shot rings out. He will not waste another round, knowing guns without ammo are useless. So he sets it aside and throws himself right back into the grind. Fishing, life here is incredibly boring, but he possesses a cheat here. Insight talent along with that insane double happiness effect, while everyone else is pulling up useless junk, without his cheat skill pointing him toward a Rich zone, his situation would match theirs. Suddenly, another float. Dips, bringing a rush of joy, but as he yanks, he gets dragged off balance, nearly tumbling straight into the ocean. One step closer, and he would have fallen right in. He grips the rod tightly, pulling with extreme caution, realizing that every step back pulls him forward instead. But he is not scared, he is absolutely thrilled. Through his insight prompts, he has already figured out that the higher a chest star rating, the harder the struggle, and the force on his rod is way stronger than that first 1-star chest. His guess matches what finally surfaces: a 2-star ordinary monster treasure chest. Inside is a low-level goblin, along with it. Warning note: opening it releases the beast, and he has to kill it to claim his reward. The goblin's stats pop up next. Strength is 1.5, Constitution is 2, Spirit is 1.5, wielding a broadsword, and the system description calls it absolute trash, with only basic construction abilities. Thankfully, his insight skill hands him a strategy, advising him to use firearms. The details here are way richer than anything those wooden chests ever offered, meaning it is a special chest. Now this is getting interesting. If he had reeled this in before finding the guns, he might have hesitated, since the monster has a weapon, but with 2 pistols on hand, his insight skill has already laid out the perfect plan. The tug-of-war lasts 20 minutes of intense pulling before he drags the monster chest up. He sets his rod aside, grabs both Type 59 pistols, touches the lid, and opens it. He backs away and waits. A flash of white light erupts, and a hunched figure under 1.5 meters tall materializes right before him. He pulls the trigger before the goblin even realizes where it is. The first barrage of bullets rips right through its body, and it instantly collapses to the ground. To be safe, he pumps 5 more rounds into the beast, leaving 5 neat holes. The system pings with a notification: he has killed the 2-star ordinary monster. Now he gets to choose between 2 rewards: a low-level goblin slave, or its construction knowledge. He picks the slave without a second thought. His double happiness skill triggers, doubling his reward to 2 slaves instead. 2 fresh goblins identical to the dead one materialize before him, while the old corpse on the ground slowly vanishes into thin air. Their stats pop up: low-level goblin slaves with 100% loyalty. They cannot betray him. Their strength is 1.5, Constitution is 2, with basic construction skills, wielding greatswords. The system describes them as cheap labor that survives on barely any food, and they already understand the common language. The 2 goblins look up with absolute devotion the moment they see him. Kneeling down to try and kiss his shoes, he pulls his foot away in disgust, telling them in a cold voice to use the logs and build him a wooden bed, table, and chairs. They nod frantically, squeaking out that they live to serve. Since their loyalty is locked at 100%, they would leap into the ocean on command, making this chore a breeze. They grab their greatswords and charge at the woodpile. A second later, the system sounds another alert. His prosperity score has skyrocketed, placing him first in the regional rankings, with the exclusive privilege of holding that rank if he keeps it for 6 hours. He lets out a quiet gasp of surprise, since he was the first to gain any prosperity. The chat channel is absolutely losing its mind. The ranking panel shows him at first place with 10 prosperity, while second and third remain completely blank as the timer ticks down. Intrigued, he pulls up his own character panel, which looks the same except for a new slave section showing his 2 goblins for his 10 prosperity, with an updated note showing his current rank. First, the number of living beings on the island ties directly to the prosperity value, which clicks for him immediately. He sinks his thoughts into the communication channel to see how the rest of the world is taking it. The wall is flooded with praise for the new top player. They're begging him to speak. Everyone is begging him for advice on raising island prosperity. He feels nothing about the praise, but for the sake of future trade, he doesn't pretend to be aloof, as his development speed is fast enough that no one in this area will catch up to him. He types out a long message telling the channel that island prosperity is closely tied to the number of living beings on the island, and to island buildings, and that anyone who uses materials to build a thatch shelter will see for themselves. Once the message goes up, a chorus of thanks fills the channel, and underneath the thanks, the same old chaos. 1 player thanks him for the info and offers black stockings. Another begs him for water. The rest are broken on day 1. Utter despair. He ignores the begging He cannot give his own rations to others. Whoever wants to do that can do it. He taps into the trading channel. By now there are quite a few listings. Someone named Wang is offering 5 porcelain bowls for 2 bottles of water or 2 packs of noodles. Another player offering 5 portions of wood for 1 bottle of water or 1 piece of bread. Someone named Lei offers 10 portions of wood for medicine and 1 bottle of water or bread. Most listings are people trying to acquire water and food. Wood is the hottest commodity. After organizing his pack, he realizes he's flat broke. He needs to fish up some solid loot. With that, he exits the channel to get back to fishing. Once he's gone, someone else starts frantically buying up everything that is being traded for water. On his island, Wang Yung feels God has been very kind to him. He just fished up a large red plastic barrel, and the sky immediately opens into a downpour. With no shelter, he hugs the barrel tightly to keep the wind from carrying it off. By the time the rain passes, he has half a barrel of water. That half barrel is enough to make him a tycoon at this stage, since seawater cannot be drunk and fresh water is the ultimate resource of the day. With only 10 trades a day, though, even Wang Dong has to be selective. Meanwhile, back on his own waters, his hook drops, the float dips, and he yanks the rod. Nothing, just another week. 1-star chest dragged in without a fight. Chest dragged in without a struggle. He opens it without checking the description first, and the system pings. He has opened a half-star ordinary wooden chest. Double happiness triggers, and he receives 2 boxes of 50 windproof lighters. His grin spreads. He has something to trade now. Anyone without way to make fire will absolutely need these. Not everyone can rub sticks together. He sets the lighters aside and looks at his 2 hardworking goblins. They trim wood with massive knives, incredibly awkward for making furniture. Awkward for tables and stools. He lists some windproof lighters on the market. His listing offers 5 windproof lighters, asking for specific woodworking tools in return. A handsaw, chisel, axe, plane, or hammer. No stalling, he keeps moving. The channel, he just picks the rod back up and keeps fishing. He still has 6 portions of ordinary bait, enough for 6 more chests, the thing he wants most. Right now, his main goal is finding an ordinary energy crystal for bait. That is the most crucial early game item, and his insight talent reveals the exact recipe. He carefully analyzed the bait to learn its makeup, but finding one is pure luck. Someone might have caught one already, without even putting it up for sale. Since these crystals are extremely rare, normal players would not just toss them away. Even without knowing its true purpose, he figures obtaining one cannot be too difficult. Otherwise, relying on just the 10 free bait portions would completely stall most players. Nobody would survive the novice phase. Meanwhile, time quietly slips by as he fishes. Eventually, he is down to his final 2 bait pieces after 4 random attempts. Those casts landed him a half-star blueprint for a simple wooden shelter. It builds a 15-square-meter house using 100 pieces of wood. He also snagged a fresh apple with over 95% freshness remaining. Then comes a 2-star energy crystal capable of creating 30 portions of bait. All he needs is some flour, plus a half-star bamboo sleeping mat. With the energy crystal finally in hand, he can breathe a sigh of relief. Finding flour should be easy compared to getting this incredibly rare power crystal. He prepares his final 2 casts with ease when suddenly, the system pings. His windproof lighters are completely sold out, asking if he wants his items. He leaves them in his inbox, and just like that, his rod violently bends. The weight feels heavy. After 8 attempts, he knows exactly how chests feel. Before even dragging it out, he can tell it is a 1-star chest. Pulling it up reveals exactly what he anticipated, a basic 1-star wooden box. Inside is a useful cooking set with pots, bowls, chopsticks, and a spoon. At least he has some dinnerware for tonight. He casts his last line. The moment his bait hits the water, the float dips and he pulls. This heavy tension feels like a 2-star catch, and he cannot help grinning. The rush is exhilarating as his insight talent flashes to show him the contents. It is a 2-star chest containing a fully fueled, ordinary compact car. A strange warning note advises him not to drive it on this island. He is speechless. Seriously, who expects to pull a whole car out of the ocean? But a car on a tiny island only 10 meters wide, that is crazy. One wrong turn sends him into the ocean, but it is not useless. Before his house is built, he can sleep inside rather than the ground. Plus, he can drain the fuel. With a final heave, he pulls it up. He carries the heavy box over to his two goblin workers, who freeze. They immediately drop to their knees to salute him as their master. Their work on his furniture is going fast. Now he activates his skill. Instantly, two identical Toyota cars materialize right on this tiny patch of land. This bizarre miracle terrifies the poor goblins, sending them back to the floor. He commands them to stand up and keep working, then climbs inside a car. Leaning the seat back, he finally rests. 10 casts took a serious toll. His energy is completely spent. Most other players would not survive this pressure. They simply do not have his luck pulling rare chests within 10 attempts. Normal survivors only catch broken junk. For them, basic wood is a luxury. Finding a 2-star crate is practically a miracle in this brutal world. Without his special insight to find rich fishing zones, hooking one is pure luck. And even when one bites, reeling it in is a whole different beast. Thankfully, his ability comes with a chest guide, which is basically cheating. He leans back, apple in hand, and dives back into the chat room. The hope is that someone out there has found something actually useful. The feed is surprisingly quiet now, with no more endless scrolling of text. Suddenly, a system alert pings. He has officially taken the number 1 spot. His rewards: 5 extra daily trades and pinning rights on the market, plus 5 daily pinned messages in chat and valuable treasure chests that unlock the longer he holds onto his top ranking on the leaderboards. He gets rewards for surviving at the top for 1, 3, and 5 days. But his expression quickly turns heavy as he continues scrolling through the chat. Desperate players are begging the system to send them back home to their families. Some cry that their toddlers are left alone, while others ask in despair if their young children and elderly parents were dragged into this hell too. And honestly, the system's reply is absolute chills. It addresses everyone, saying that those under 14 and over 60 are safe under other arrangements. The only way to see them again is to survive. This sparks massive hope. He is a lone wolf, completely solitary before this whole madness end. Still alone now, so the dark reality hits him much lighter than others. The chat explodes back to life as people vow to stay alive, but then one player whines for survival tips, complaining he has only fished up junk. Another replies that fishing is pure luck and he has caught nothing decent. A third groans that his gaming luck was always completely trash anyway. A fourth desperately begs his neighbor for supplies before he dies. The response: drop dead first. Our guy exits the chat and checks the trades instead. Searching the term flour, he finds a dozen listings pop up instantly. One seller demands a kilogram of flour for 9/10 of a kilo of bread. Another greedy merchant offers 2 kilograms of flour for almost 2 kilograms of instant food. Most listings demand cooked meals. Looking at his tiny 100-gram noodle packs, he realizes trading them is a terrible deal. Time to pivot the strategy. He decides to put a windproof lighter up on the market instead. He lists one windproof lighter for 300 grams of flour, using his last 2 trades, deciding to grab some food while he waits. He closes the window, pushes the car door open, and steps out. He commands his 2 loyal goblin slaves to start a quick campfire. To show them how, he clicks the windproof lighter and tosses it. The little creatures immediately scurry off to get the wood burning fast. With the leftover scraps from his crafting session, the fire takes instantly. He pours water into the pot, places it over the hot flames. Minutes later, as it bubbles, he tears open the instant noodles. The savory aroma of seasoning immediately starts drifting through the cold air. His 2 goblins stare greedily at the pot, drooling heavily but never daring to touch a single bite without his permission. He stirs with chopsticks. 3 minutes later, a steaming hot meal of noodles is ready. He holds a bowl while the 2 goblins stare at him. He hesitates. Then he tells them to cook for themselves, as long as they wash up. Afterward, he refuses to starve his hard workers, since they are still incredibly useful. Plus, they keep his hands clean by taking over all the dirty labor. He tosses 2 packets of noodles over. Any other survivor would hesitate. Food is scarce after all, and no one can guarantee steady supplies. But he is not worried. He has enough crystals to make basic bait. The only thing he is missing is flour. With 2 crystals he can easily make 60 portions of fresh bait, and his skill ensures no wasted casts. This means his food supply is locked in for the long run. The system pings. Both windproof lighters he posted are gone, and now it asks for a container. He nearly chokes on his noodles and curses the timing. He chooses to extract the goods directly onto a plate on the ground. 600 grams of fine white flour materializes in front of him, and at the same time his two trading partners receive their lighters instantly. He gulps down his soup, setting his empty bowl aside for later. Now it is time to work. He drops 2 crystals onto the plate and grabs his hammer. He quickly smashes the hard crystals into a fine powder, then sets the tool aside and begins kneading the mixture with his bare hands. Soon 60 portions of fresh bait sit piled neatly on the plate. He lets out a small sigh of relief, but then a chilling thought hits him. The only reason he could craft bait is because his insight skill showed the recipe. Honestly, how are regular survivors going to manage once their bait runs out? He does not want everyone in this region dying off and leaving him alone, since a market needs people and he needs their resources circulating. He opens up the regional chat to see if anyone is talking about it. People are definitely complaining, but nobody has found a solution yet. After thinking for a second, he drafts a message of his own to the channel saying he is buying basic energy crystals and inviting offers. He asks them to message him with pictures, then decides to pin the post, since it is his privilege as the top player, and why waste it? And wow, that pinned post instantly grabs everyone's attention in the chat room. The wall explodes. Someone marvels that the top-ranked boss pinned a message. Another asks what those energy crystals even do, begging for answers. A third laughs, wishing he had one to extort a high price out of him. While admitting he has no clue what it does, the speculation runs wild because he has been leading the regional prosperity leaderboard from the very start. His base construction is clearly the best around. The system suddenly pings to update the regional rankings, keeping him firmly in first place while others fill out the top 100. He sits at 20 prosperity with 7 hours. Left on the board, Zhou Yil is second with 10, and Wang Gok is third. With 9, Jie Changyu is fourth with 8, while Wang Du sits at rank 100. The system then hands out the basic daily prosperity rewards, with elite treasure chests reserved for the top 10. First place gets 20 portions of daily bait, while second gets 15, third gets 10, and the rest scale down. Ranks 21 to 50 get 4, while anyone past rank 100 gets a single portion. At least as a minimum, the global chat absolutely explodes the second these rewards are posted. Users wail that anyone past rank 100 gets only 1 daily portion, asking how they will survive. Others are completely shocked that first place gets 20 times more than the bottom tiers. Some try to calm the chat, saying there must be other ways to obtain bait. Meanwhile, the top 10 are constantly begged to reveal how their prosperity skyrocketed. Soyu lets out a quiet gasp, so holding a rank grants bait, meaning the system is running a brutal survival jar game with all of them trapped inside like poisonous insects. Whole picture is crystal clear now. The higher you rank, the more resources flood in. Anyone past rank 100 must climb using sheer skill or insane luck. Just then, the system pings him with a private chat request from Wang Dong. Soyu had previously set a filter on his private messages, so only people with an ordinary energy crystal could reach him, letting the system automatically scan for it. It scans items just like the trade channel, otherwise he would get completely spammed. To death with messages, he accepts the request and a text from Wang Dong appears. Wang Dong addresses him as boss, saying he has the energy crystal Soyu wants and is down to trade, though he asks what the item is actually used for. On his own island, Wang Dong stares anxiously at the screen. He does not have Soyu's powerful insight talent and can only see basic item names, but through trial and error, he figured out which chest star ratings drop the most valuable loot. That is exactly why he has not listed his crystals publicly yet. He simply does not know what a fair price is. Soyu thinks for a moment, then types his offer. He explains that 1 ordinary energy crystal will buy the formula's use, nothing more. No other items are allowed. Daily trades are strictly capped, so Soyu had to act fast, capitalizing on this secret before it leaks. Meanwhile, Wang Dong stares anxiously at the screen. These crystals are far rarer than basic items. But high rarity without a clear purpose is just useless scrap. After some thought, he decides to part with one to unlock its secrets, addressing Soyu as senior. He agrees to the trade and asks Soyu to post a listing. Soyu nods, provingly at the man's quick decisiveness, putting up a windproof lighter as the trade item. He has a massive surplus of lighters and cannot be bothered to find anything else. Wang Dong, who has been constantly refreshing the market with the right keywords, spots the listing and instantly hits confirm. The trade is a success. The system pings with a notification, and Soyu collects his brand new crystal. With a satisfied grin, he messages Wang Dong the actual recipe. Crush it and mix it with 300 grams of flour to make 30 portions. He provides the exact instructions instead of trying to scam him, knowing the entire region needs to grow for everyone to survive. Soyu is completely unbothered by sharing such basic details since this cheap bait only targets 2-star chests at best. Over on his island, Wang Dong's breathing catches. This formula is infinitely more valuable than a single useless crystal. Without the recipe, the crystal would have remained a useless rock. He floods Soyu with thank you messages, but Soyu shrugs it off as a fair deal, inviting future trades. Closing the chat, he grabs his trusty fishing rod. Now fully rested and well-fed, he is ready. He now has 60 portions of ordinary bait prepped and a sparkling crystal ready. They are still uncrafted. If he doesn't fish hard, his bait pile will only keep growing. He glances up at the sky, still daylight left. He walks back to his old fishing spot. But his insight warns him this spot is only average now. It seems those ocean chests aren't fixed in place, they shift over time. He relocates, but the next reading is completely barren, nothing there. He shakes his head and moves on. After 9 moves, he finally finds an abundant spot, without his special insight. This would be deadly. He casts the rod, sending the braided line flying. Call it pure luck, but over the next 90 minutes, he pulls up 10 chests in a row. The haul includes 4 1-star chests, 3 1.5-star chests, and 3 2-star chests. The basic ones reward him with 40 pieces of ordinary wood, 2 cartons of Jenga cigarettes, 2 5-kilogram bags of rice, and 4 500-gram bags of salt. The 1.5-star chests yield 2 20-liter cans of diesel, 2 luxury massage chairs, and 2 25-kilogram bags of cement. Then, the 2-star drops. He gets 2 ordinary fishing rod blueprints and 2 ordinary bungalow construction blueprints plus 4 enhanced baits. His eyes lock onto the 2-star items since the other loot is common enough that he doesn't need insight to read them. The ordinary fishing rod blueprint upgrades his novice rod, requiring 1 fiberglass, 1 braided line, and 1 carbon cloth. The ordinary bungalow construction blueprint is for a 30 square meter simple home requiring 25 cement, 200 red bricks, and 100 sand. The enhanced bait targets 2.5 to 5-star chests, with a warning, noting his novice rod can break under the strain of this stronger bait. Honestly, he hasn't seen any of those rod materials yet, not a single one. And that bungalow list makes his head spin. He decides to stick to the car for now, gathering resources slowly. Then he looks at the massive pile on the ground. He must upgrade his island level soon or else there will be absolutely no space left. He counts his 7 remaining trades. He sets up listings immediately, offering 3 500-gram bags of edible salt, asking to swap each bag for either fiberglass, braided line, or carbon cloth. He had searched the market earlier, but nobody was selling, so he posts and pins his offer, and of course, the local chat channel instantly goes completely wild. Everyone starts speculating on what he is collecting. One player asks the channel if anyone knows what this top-ranked player wants with these items. Another guesses, judging by the materials, that they must be for a fishing rod. A third asks why anyone would need that when everyone already has one. The first user snaps back that they are being dense. The top rank gets 20 extraordinary baits daily, so 1 rod simply isn't enough. Another shrugs that some are dying of thirst while others are completely drowning. He isn't surprised they figured it out. With so many survivors out there, logical deduction is bound to happen. He didn't even try to hide it, since anyone who fishes up the blueprint will see the materials list anyway. After cataloging his haul and storing it away, he casts his line again. Meanwhile, Wang Duong, having mixed his crystal with flour to make 30 baits, is excitedly fishing on his own island. Having seen the pin trade, he is curious how exactly to construct a fishing rod, and he refuses to believe it can be assembled like a normal tool. After all, this rod is meant for ocean treasure. Could be a trick. He decides not to private message Soyu directly yet. He will fish more first, seeing if he can pull up anything good, then exchange it for information on the regional prosperity ranking. The few people behind him are processing mixed feelings. Zhou Yil in second place glances at Suyu's name with an Inexplicable flicker in his eyes. His own panel reads level 1 island. Lord 24 years old, strength 9/10 plus 1, constitution 8/10 plus 1, spirit 1 and 3/10. Plus 1 island prosperity 10 points, with a low-tier talent called divination that is upgradable to triple S grade deduction. This divination talent lets him divine his own luck 5 times daily by using divination before every fishing attempt. He was able to time his casts and lock down second place without Soyu's presence. The top spot in this region would be his. He glances at his last divination of the day, no hesitation. The result reads benefit, so he casts his line once. Meanwhile, the big shot everyone in chat is thinking about is sitting back on a fished-up massage chair like he is on vacation. His insight reveals his next catch is a 2-star common wood chest containing one 20 milliliter tube of ordinary strength potion, with a note stating that consuming 20 milliliters increases strength by 2/10 with no side effects, and that this potion does not work if his base strength exceeds 5. His spirits leap if it had gone away, total heartbreak. After tense tug-of-war, he brings it ashore. Double happiness gives him 2 test tubes. From a single example like this, the abnormality of his talent is crystal clear, and the talent still has room to grow. If it were trash, the bonus is useless. But with rare items later, his single yield will be worth many times what others get. He pulls both stoppers and chugs them. The potion hits his stomach and sends a tingling current through his whole body. Don't ask how he knows what being electrocuted feels like, because as a kid, he touched the signal cable port of a television, shocking himself, and the feeling was actually pretty exhilarating. The effect lasts about 20 minutes, then he opens his panel. His strength has reached 1 and 4/10 plus 1, with 2 Toyotas now listed under his slaves, and adding 10 prosperity, pushing his total to 20 points. Still rank 1, he smiles, already dreaming of pulling in more of these amazing items. Fantasizing, but then disaster strikes. His insane god-tier luck just vanishes, replaced by the worst luck imaginable. Even so, his insight talent is still insisting this water is rich. The catches shouldn't be junk, right? Wrong. Over the next half hour, he hauls in 10 garbage chests, 4 1-star, 3 1.5-star, 2 2-star, and 1/2-star chest, which is a clear downgrade from his last batch. Those half-star chests give him 2 5-portion piles of ordinary wood, 2 bottles of shampoo, 2 boxes of tissues, and 2 bottles of Haitian soy sauce. The 1-star chests yield 4 5-kilogram fresh watermelons, 2 basic medical kits, and 4 apple saplings. The 1.5 stars give him 2 40-portion piles of ordinary wood and 2 portions of fertile soil. Only the 2 2-star deliver. They contain 2 island area fragments, generated when other islands break, which can expand his current island's area by 1 square meter each. He activates them immediately, watching his island grow from 100 square meters to 102. Comparable to those attribute potions, he tells himself, sitting back to continue fishing. The system pings, prompting Soyu to claim his regional first place reward of 20 ordinary baits. But he is not excited, since he already has far too much of the stuff lying around. He claims the reward and keeps going, but his regional chat is suddenly interrupted. The system asks if he will accept a private chat request from another survivor. It is from Changyu, who meets his energy crystal filter, her name 4th on the regional board, so Soyu accepts her. She greets him as Mr. Soyu and asks if they can trade other items. She wants to use an ordinary energy crystal. Another sharp survivor is catching on. Apart from Soyu, only Wang Dong knows its use, and he paid a crystal for it. This means Wang Dong will keep quiet. Soyu tells her he only needs 3 specific items. He asks for fiberglass, braided line, and carbon cloth, 1 of each, if she has them. They can trade, if not, forget it. Changyu lets out a small breath of relief. Because she has all 3, although her instinct warns her these materials are highly valuable. But she knows she cannot have it both ways in this world. She trusts her A-rank 6 senses enhancement, which tells her that the energy crystal matters far more. She tells Soyu she has all 3 and offers to trade. Purchase whatever he lists. Soyu perks up. This girl is lucky enough to gather all 3 upgrade materials and an energy crystal. He has been at this for hours without any luck. He has not found any rod materials himself. He tells her he will list the trade. Once she completes the purchase, he will send over the details on using the crystal. She agrees instantly, and the trade goes through. He pings her the same information he sent Wang Dong. She thanks him. He does not reply, saving his daily messages for later. He takes the three materials and places them next to his novice rod and the blueprint. Soyu activates the blueprint, and a brilliant white light suddenly flashes. They vanish. In their place, a brand new ordinary fishing rod appears. It is a completely dark rod with 200 durability. This rod can fish up ordinary wooden chests from half-star to 5-star rank. Best of all, novice upgrade materials can easily repair its durability. A footnote reveals that pairing it with enhanced bait at a 5-meter depth allows the rod to pull up chests from 2.5 to 5 stars, though eager he only has 4 enhanced baits left. He reminds himself how hard it was to land even 2-star chests. So 5-star is out of the question. He will use ordinary bait first and hunt for some quick attribute potions before moving on. He also drops a fresh trade message on the global channel, listing 1 carton of Jinhua cigarettes, 5 kilograms of rice, and a 500 milliliter bottle of shampoo. He asks for fiberglass, braided line, and carbon cloth in exchange. It is a total shot in the dark. If it works, great. If not, players holding the materials can still message him directly. He had not actually expected his previous offer of salt to bring in those materials. That was just to grab attention for private trades, and the items he is offering now are basically freebies. For him, much like the lighters before, common supplies stack up regardless. So he loses absolutely nothing. Pinning this trade lights up the chat once again. The pinned message immediately lights up the chat again. Someone laments not finding these materials, since they could have traded them for cigarettes. Another player tells him to stop talking, as it makes them crave a smoke. One wants a smoke, another marvels at the gap, asking why he is so flushed. With supplies, another joins the chorus, saying he used all 10 of his fishing chances only to pull 5 damaged chests. Who would believe it? He does not pay much attention to their speculation. He picks up the wooden house construction blueprint and walks toward the wood pile. The 2 goblins immediately bow when they see him approaching, and he waves them aside. The system asks him to choose where to place the house. He scans the island and locks the spot to the central area. The system confirms the location and tells him to wait. The phantom of a wooden house appears, and the timber stacks itself like building blocks. A bright white light flashes, and a small European-style wooden cabin stands in front of him. The system pings to confirm he now owns an ordinary wooden house. His prosperity is up. His prosperity is 30, still ranked first, absolutely dominating this ordinary wooden house. Description tells him it is a simple dwelling that shelters from wind and rain or stores supplies. He pushes the door open and steps inside. The interior is small, similar to some of the studio rentals he lived in before transmigrating. After a glance around, he walks straight back out, since there is nothing to see in an empty cabin. He tells the 2 goblins to move all the supplies inside and arrange them neatly. They scurry off to comply. After their lunchtime instant noodles, the 2 slaves are enchanted by the taste, and even during carpentry their mouths kept watering at the memory, so they are eager to work fast in hopes he will reward them with another bowl. He is unaware of any of that, since he has already settled onto the massage chair and started fishing 3 1-star chests in a row. Then another 2-star chest finally bites. Insight reads it as a 2-star common wood chest containing 1 20-milliliter tube of ordinary physique tribute potion with the fishing skill, noting that thanks to the upgraded rod, brute strength works fine and he can simply pull. The potion's description tells him 20 milliliters increases constitution by 2/10 with no side effects, and that the potion will not work for users with base constitution greater than 5. His listless mood snaps back. He pulls the chest in by force, opens it, and looks at the 2 tubes of blue liquid in his hand. He uncorks them and chugs. The sensation differs from the strength potion. Strength gave him a tingling current, and the physique potion gives him ice and fire at once, an exhilarating shudder that pulls a cry out of him. The 2 goblins look over, confused, drawn by their master's commotion. He shudders again as the medicine continues to work. By the time the potency exhausts, he is drenched in sweat. He peels off his jacket and the long-sleeved shirt under it, drapes them over the massage chair, and chugs a big mouthful from the mineral water bottle. If any of the survivors who have not pulled fresh water yet saw him drinking like this, they would probably wilt with envy. He burps, sets the bottle down, baits the hook with ordinary bait, and casts again. The decline that came after the strength potion hits Again, his next 10 casts pull only ordinary daily necessities, he tells himself. This might be a once every 10 tries event, if anyone could read his expression in a crowded place right now, they would beat him to death for being smug. He glances at the sky and decides to try the enhanced bait, since he has 4 chances anyway. He tells himself to go for it and attaches the enhanced bait to the. He hooks the bait, adjusts the float, takes a deep breath and casts. But a sudden trade ping breaks his focus. His Jing Hua cigarette carton sold. He curses silently, accepts the trade, and ignores the materials on the ground. Suddenly the float moves. He holds his breath, fully locked into the moment. The float plunges. He pulls back, bending his basic rod like crazy. It looks ready to snap. Veins bulge across his arms as he exerts all his strength. Planting his feet like heavy iron nails, he gets a grip on the underwater pull. He slowly begins to back up, but every single step is met with resistance. The line drags him forward, after 20 long minutes of this brutal, exhausting tug-of-war. A heavy chest finally breaks the surface. His insight skill scans it immediately. A 5-star wooden chest, holding 10 ordinary energy crystals inside. His fishing skill advises him to apply gentle, pulsing pressure for 1 full hour. Then pull. He realizes he has already secured total energy crystal freedom early on. With way too many resources on hand, a single crystal mixed with flour yields 30 bait, plus double happiness will reward him with 20 crystals. That easily translates to 600 bait. He could fish for absolute days. Until his hands cramped and still have leftovers, he quickly shakes the thought. He needs to stay focused on the heavy underwater struggle right in front of him. As the evening sky darkens, he finally drags the massive wooden chest onto land. He drops the rod and collapses onto the ground, panting heavily. Still, this massive haul guarantees he won't worry about bait for ages. With his double happiness and triple S-grade insight, he is basically rich. Now his resources are snowballing rapidly. Suddenly, a cold system notification pings. It warns all survivors that freezing night is approaching very fast. Everyone must take precautions against the freezing cold. He pushes himself up. Sitting up, he realizes this 7-day novice period is about to get brutal. People won't just struggle for food and water now. Warmth is critical. A freezing breeze sweeps over him, causing a violent shiver. He stands up. Grabbing his heavy shirt and jacket, he lifts the chest and rushes to the cabin. Inside, he orders the 2 goblins to quickly light a warm fire. Once indoors, he opens the chest, eager to see his massive prize. Seeing 20 real energy crystals piled up is a totally different feeling. It feels much more real than seeing a simple digital balance on a screen. Curiously, he opens the global chat to see how other players are doing. The entire feed is flooded with desperate people complaining about the freezing cold. One guy protests, claiming there was supposed to be a 7-day grace period. Others tell him to build a fire, while someone reports winds tearing his tent. Desperate requests for warm coats and thick bedding start filling up the trades. A few sensible players warn everyone that keeping a fire lit is absolutely crucial. Fire is the only thing that will get them through this freezing night. Catching a cold or fever out here would be a death sentence. The clever players are quickly buying up vital supplies before prices skyrocket. He glances at his remaining open trade slots and slowly makes a decision. Since he has plenty of spare lighters, he lists some for free as charity. It has been an incredibly long day of fishing, and he simply wants to eat and rest. Otherwise, those trades go to waste. Besides, giving away lighters builds a great reputation. That reputation helps with future deals. The moment his listing goes live, the first survivor to snag one screams in the chat channel that the top boss is handing out charity and that he scored a free windproof lighter. Instantly, the chat fills with complaints from those who missed out, whining about why none were saved for them. Some complain they are literally freezing to death, joking that the quick grabbers must have 20 years of single-hand reflex speed. He posts a few more lighters and stops watching. There is no real value in the chat anyway. Meanwhile, on the regional prosperity board, the players behind him compare his astronomical score to their own and completely run out of words, openly wondering if they are even playing the same game. Meanwhile, Wang Dong quietly slips into the top 10 because his 30 bait portions made from his crystal yielded an incredible haul, pushing his prosperity rank past most other survivors. Naturally, the 10th place survivor he kicked out is furious since the gap between the top 10 and the rest is massive. The top 10 gets an extra treasure chest. Reward every single day. The loser, left screaming at his empty island. Talk about a brutal reality check. Meanwhile, he panned Fry's steak over the fire, caught earlier. The rich aroma of sizzling meat fills the air, making him salivate. He has been fighting nonstop since lunchtime on just a single bowl of noodles. The first steak hits medium rare and he digs in. The two goblins do not go hungry either. He tosses them Master Kong noodles, which sends them into absolute ecstasy. After finishing 3 steaks and half a ripe watermelon, he lets out a heavy burp. He orders the two goblins to guard the fire. Tonight, add wood when it burns low, and keep a sharp eye on the sea for any movement. The goblins quickly bow, saying they will obey. He pulls the Toyota door open, gets inside, starts the engine, turns on the air conditioning, reclines his seat, and lies back to relax. Driving on this tiny island is impossible, but enjoying the cool AC is no issue as long as his gas holds out, making warmth a guarantee. The main reason he put the goblins on watch is that the sudden temperature drop hints at incoming danger, plus those two slave creatures have plenty of stamina and can easily skip a night of sleep, so they might as well pull guard duty. The two huddle close to the fire, alert, watching, carrying out his commands to the absolute letter. When he finally opens his eyes, daylight has returned. He wakes up, stretches, turns off the AC, and steps outside. Facing the bright morning sun, he takes a deep breath and exhales. Slowly, the two goblins, who spent all night guarding the smoldering fire, jog over to greet their master. He asks if anything out of the ordinary happened during the long night. They report hearing nothing but the constant sound of seawater hitting the island edges, no other movement at all. He tells them well done and sends them to the cabin to grab him some breakfast, while he picks up his rod and walks to the shore. He has collected way too much ordinary bait, so he needs to burn through it. He fishes with one hand while chewing bread with the other, comfortably starting his morning routine. Then a system ping. It is time to claim his first place. Reward of 20 portions of ordinary bait. He claims it without much excitement. If it had been enhanced bait, he would be thrilled, but he already has a massive glut of ordinary bait. The top ranks might eventually yield better rewards, but not on the first or second day. Keeping one eye on the fishing float, he dips into the chat. He does not like speaking in public, but lurking is fine. One survivor posts in frantic, stuttered messages that he was. Some complain about freezing, others wonder why they are stuttering. After all, anyone with a warm campfire should have been perfectly fine. A third snaps back. Comfortable critics do not know real suffering. What about the poor souls with zero gear who survived on sheer willpower? One joker declares that surviving on pure spirit makes them the absolute strongest. Another adds that he ate just a tiny piece of bread and drank half a bottle of water, leaving him so hungry he practically saw ghosts in his sleep. A wisecracker asks if he is sure it was not a nuclear explosion. Meanwhile, a lucky player asks the channel why everyone is starving. After all, fishing supplies are everywhere. Yesterday, he opened a grand treasure chest packed with roast lamb, roast chicken, and sweet sodas. Envious players call him a jerk, asking how his warm hands can type such heartless words. Another tells him to just chill, while someone else just posts disgusted, gagging noises. He rolls his eyes, reminding himself that the world is full of weirdos. He closes the chat, a sudden tug. His system insight reveals a 2-star wooden chest containing a simple fishing net. This handy net is designed specifically to capture low-level treasure chests. He just needs to attach basic bait, throw it in, and wait. The system specifies that the optimal setup requires 10 portions of bait per cast. It can haul in up to 2-star chests, but warns him to be careful. One wrong move could drag him into the water. It has 10 durability. Each captured chest drains 1 durability. He silently cheers at his luck. Talk about perfect timing. The system always seems to have his back. He hauls the chest in, cracks it open, and holds 2 simple fishing nets. Summoning his 2 goblin assistants, he orders them to drive 2 wooden stakes deep down. Once they find the right spots, he loads 10 pieces of bait onto the net. He flings it straight toward a flagged, treasure-rich zone nearby. As it sinks, he secures the rope to a stake and repeats the process, using 20 bait total. His mood brightens. He does not realistically expect 10 2-star chests per net. But landing even 2 or 3 would be a massive win. Suddenly, a private message pings. It is Wang Dong again, a guy known for pulling up great loot. He immediately accepts the call. Wang Dong respectfully asks if he wants a small ordinary speedboat that he just fished up since he has no use for it. In fact, the man is too terrified to drive it and desperately wants it gone. He offers the entire speedboat, telling our hero to just offer whatever feels fair. Our hero would not dare drive a speedboat out here either, but it might prove useful later. Since it takes up zero inventory space, he decides to make the deal. He messages back, offering a valuable trade for the vessel. He puts up a wooden house blueprint that requires 100 pieces of wood. This blueprint automatically builds a 15 square meter home. Wang Dong is stunned, having never seen a blueprint before, and eagerly agrees to the trade. He has been shivering in a basic tent, so a real house is a massive upgrade. Our hero lists the trade publicly, and Wang Dong snaps it up instantly. The speedboat vanishes in a flash of white light, confirming the successful transaction. Wang Dong happily grabs his new house blueprint and immediately starts gathering materials for wood listings on the trade channel, since a blueprint alone is just not enough. Meanwhile, he walks to a spot near the sea and silently confirms the retrieval. A small, ordinary speedboat appears on the water. Its basic description reads: as a 6-meter boat with a 6-person capacity and an empty 150-liter tank. The outboard motor runs 70 to 115 horsepower, hitting 35 knots max. The note tells him he can try cruising around the island after fueling, warning him not to go too far or get lost. The empty tank is no surprise since Wang Dong is not stupid. With fuel inside, he would never have traded so easily. He has the 2 goblins drive 2 more stakes and secure the speedboat with a rope before heading back to fishing. Although he has fuel, he cannot drive a speedboat, but the goblins can be tasked with testing it later, since their race is decent. With mechanical creations, even if they wreck it, he will not feel bad since the boat was basically free. The next round of fishing pushes his concentration high since enhanced bait is on the line. He stares at the float for half an hour with no movement. Just as he blinks to clear his dry eyes, the float drops. He grips tight. The tug is clearly not 5-star territory, so he does not bother with any fancy technique. His insight reveals a 3-star common wood chest containing 1 seawater purification pure freshwater device that can purify 100 liters daily with 100 durability and 1 loss per purification. Pretty decent. He yanks the chest to shore, completely thrilled. 2 fairly large, high-tech looking devices appear right in front of him. He orders the 2 goblins to fetch seawater in containers. They scurry off and return with buckets. He takes a bucket, pours it into the inlet, hits the start button, and places the empty bucket at the outlet. Honestly, who wouldn't be curious? The device has no power input, yet water starts flowing from the outlet into the bucket. He tells the goblins to watch the bucket, and once it is full, water the saplings and seeds with 200 liters daily. He walks to the simple fishing net since half an hour has passed, and it is time to check. The Insight reads the first net before he even pulls. 6 1-stars, 2 1.5 stars, and 2 2-stars inside this net. The 10 chests contain 120 milliliter mental attribute potion, 1 portion of fertile soil, 1 bag of toilet paper, and other items. He marvels that the net is more impressive than the rod, since it reveals the catch before he even lifts it. He shrugs off the mystery and accepts that if his talent works, that is enough. He grips the rope, braces, and grunts under his breath at how heavy it is. 10 chests in 1 pull is no joke. Fortunately, the net's chests struggle less than those from the rod of the same rating. Otherwise, he would have called the goblins to help, like an old ox pulling a cart. He hauls the net up and opens the chest containing the mental potion first, holding 2 tubes of light purple liquid. Its description states that 20 milliliters increases spirit by 210 with no side effects. No effect. At a base spirit of 5 or higher, he uncorks and chugs. A cool sensation spreads through his mind, making his thoughts feel much sharper. The sensation lasts about 10 minutes before wearing off. If he had to rate the 3 potions, the mental one easily takes the top spot. That cool, blissful feeling is simply too good. He is even a little lightheaded walking to the second net. He grips the rope of the second net, and his insight surprises him. 5 1-star, 2 1.5 star, 2 2-star chests, and a single 2-star common pet chest. These 10 chests contain an adult snow wolf, 30 liters of gasoline, a 6-pack of Sprite, and other random supplies. There is even that pet chest, showing a growing variety of loot. His insight skill scans the adult snow wolf. It is 2 meters long, 70 kilograms, Candidate subspecies of gray wolf, a domesticated pet from the pet chest. Suitable for guarding his home with combat power far exceeding that of an ordinary unarmed human. He strokes his chin, in no rush to drag the chest over. Opening the wolf and putting it on the island only creates another freeloader. Compared to his hardworking goblins, a wolf has absolutely no work value. After a quick moment of hesitation, he decides to simply toss the unopened chest inside. Fortunately, he already proved a crucial fact: unopened chests do not vanish. Most players would never think to try, since they cannot resist opening their catches immediately. He drags his second net ashore and carries the 10 chests inside, sorting and stacking them neatly. If any other survivor saw his cabin right now, they would absolutely drool with envy. The small cabin is packed with open supplies alongside piles of unopened chests. In the old world, he would be a wealthy landlord. Just then, the system pings to notify him that his time on the leaderboard has reached a full day, asking if he wants to claim the rank. One leaderboard chest, he claims it. The item details are simple: a special 5 square meter fragment designed to expand his current island by 5 square meters. He completely underestimated this reward. A single of these is worth 5 of the basic +1 fragments he has been getting from 2-star chests. Those smaller fragments are incredibly rare. He had only pulled a single one before. He activates both. Time to expand. The island grows visibly larger, a massive leap compared to earlier expansions. His status panel updates: level 1 island owner with 112 square meters, strength 1 and 4/10 plus 1.12. His constitution is identical, while his spirit reaches 9/10 plus 1.12. Slaves remain 2 goblins for 10 prosperity. Total prosperity is at 55, split between the house, the goblins, and his saplings. He notices that his stat bonus rises alongside the island's size, letting himself fantasize about growing this place into a massive continent with godlike strength. If he reaches 200 square meters, the attribute bonus will jump by another 2 points. If he hits millions of square meters, the boost will be insane. For now, the island remains locked. He quickly shakes the daydream off. He opens the world chat to check for deals. The chat wall is mocking a player who claims he is starving enough to dive for chests underwater. Others chime in, laughing at the idea, while some warn him that anyone diving down might never come back up to the surface. Then, a third user starts warning everyone to stay out of the water because something is down there. But the message cuts off mid-sentence. Immediately, players start asking him if he is still alive, begging him to say something and explain the danger. Our main character frowns. What else could be in the ocean besides these chests? His curiosity flares up. After all, his unique radar should work. His insight skill should have picked them up. Yet, after countless casts, he detected nothing at all, which is highly concerning. Perhaps system rules limit his vision. With his current strength too low, he cannot sense any danger yet. Meanwhile, the regional chat gets pretty tense as people wonder if monsters will attack tonight. But wait, one player claims that kind of threat is unlikely to happen within 7 days, though after that, all bets are off. Others tell him to stop being such a jinx. Someone else speaks up, arguing that fear is completely useless and their only option is to survive. But another user quickly pours cold water on that hope, pointing out that this barren island has no tree bark to eat and their fish supplies will not last. Someone sighs that the top 10 are surely fine, swimming in food and water from all their daily bonus bait. Another post demands that as fellow humans, those leaders ought to share their wealth with those struggling for resources. A realist snickers and asks if that top-ranked guy is their father, questioning why he should just hand over his hard-earned items. Not surprising at all. Some players are already targeting the people at the very top of the rankings. 5,000 people in one region makes for a chaotic mix of former high officials, ordinary workers, street thugs, ex-criminals, and even dangerous outlaws, all thrown in with naive students who still believe in fairy tale endings. A combination like that guarantees constant drama. Let's face it, those naive players have already been scammed out of their supplies while gladly thanking the thieves who took them. Sure enough, right as he thinks this, a warning pops up in the chat about a woman named Wang Chan Chen who just stole his food bag. Others ask for the full juicy details, teasingly asking if he got played while trying to flirt. Another notes being scammed this early is actually quite impressive. Deciding to act, he writes his own Message announcing that he is buying island area fragments. He adds that owners can message him directly to trade for food, fresh water, or other useful items. He pins the post. Instantly, it triggers wild speculation about his true motives, along with it. Sneer at anyone too blind to understand his plain offer. Then, a player realizes something big and shares that thanks to today's guaranteed bait, he actually managed to pull up a 2-star chest containing a +1 fragment, which he immediately wants to go and trade. With our top-ranked protagonist, the others burn with envy, pure jealousy, are also found inside the 2nd through 10th place reward chests. The only difference is how much space they actually add. First place gets a +5 fragment, 2nd gets a +3, 3rd gets 2, and 4th through 10th receives single +1s. These top 10 players will definitely not sell them for basic needs since their own supply stash is decent, even if not quite as massive as his. Suddenly, the system pings with a trade request from a seller named Oil who has a fragment. He accepts. Oil greets him politely and asks how much food a single fragment can buy. Over on his own island, Oil looks deathly pale, his lips are cracked and his body is dehydrated. He got no fresh water from his 10 baits, and 8 of his 10 chests were completely damaged. The remaining 2 were basic chests that only gave him 10 pieces of wood. From his starter chest, he only got 1 loaf of bread and a 500 milliliter bottle of water. Otherwise, he would have surrendered long ago. This was the same Oil who claimed he survived on pure spirit. Our protagonist ponders for second, calculating the perfect price. Too little makes him hesitate, while too much might. He will have a tough time getting more from other struggling survivors. They are short on basics. He messages Ool, offering to trade a 1+1 fragment for 15 liters of fresh water, 10 kilograms of rice, and a windproof lighter. Ool hesitates, unsure if the deal is too low, but without this trade he might not survive the night, and waiting for a worse deal from someone else would be even worse, especially since only the top 10 players have this many supplies to spare. He tells himself to just accept the deal, even though he wanted to shop around. But with only 10 messages allowed per day, he already wasted most of them gossiping. Plus, he still needs to reply. Ool asks our guy if he can throw in some cold weather gear, pointing out he is the first one willing to trade. Otherwise, Ool might freeze tonight. Our hero agrees to throw in an extra blanket as a bonus, posting the official trade right on the channel. He has plenty of warm gear to spare, all packed away and unopened wooden chests. He opens a chest, grabs a blanket, and puts up the listing. The deal is set: 15 liters of water, 10 kilograms of rice, a lighter, and 1 blanket, all exchanged for a 1+1 island fragment. Ool accepts it immediately. Success, he claims his fragment and uses it immediately. His island expands to 113 meters. Time to get busy planning future builds before heading to the edge to fish. His insight talent warns him that local resources are dry. Time to move. He relocates several times before his insight reveals a 5-star chest resting 5 meters down. His vision has grown incredibly precise, maybe his strength or constant practice is finally causing his unique perception to upgrade itself. Before, his skill only showed whether an area was rich or poor. Now it lists the exact star ratings, only one way to find out. He hooks on enhanced bait, casts right where his insight flagged, and waits. After 10 minutes, the line pulls tight. It is a 5-star chest containing 100 forged profound iron, but reeling it in requires serious skill. This means he will have to fight it for a full hour before dragging it up. This profound iron is a key material needed to upgrade his basic rod to black iron grade, along with some rare ice silkworm silk and a special upgrade blueprint. Best of all, his upgraded talent now reads: the chest contents the second a bite happens, long before it even surfaces. No more guessing. He carefully follows the recommended technique and reels it in. His double drop perk triggers, yielding 2 chunks of the dark, sleek, profound iron. They have a smooth, jade-like finish and feel incredibly heavy in hand. They remind him of magic items from the fantasy novels he read before. Transmigrating, perhaps he can even reel in real magical techniques one day. As the chest star ratings go up, the potential loot only gets wilder. He assumes there are black iron, bronze, silver, and even gold tiers above wood. But only time will tell. He carries both pieces of heavy iron inside his wooden cabin, which has basically become a makeshift storage locker. After storing them safely, he jogs back to the shore to scan again. One area shows clusters of one-star chests, while another holds a mix of 1- and 2-star targets. Finally, he spots a rich zone packed with 2-star rewards. He readies his gear, calling out to the goblins to bring over the massive net. After attaching 10 pieces of bait, he casts and orders the goblins to drive stakes. They are fast, having done this before. Gripping the rope, his special insight warns him. 2-star chests are filling the net, warning him not to get pulled into the deep. This requires multiple people. Wrapping the rope around a stake, he calls over the goblins. He tells the 2 beasts to grab hold of the line and wait for his command. On his signal, they must pull with everything they have. The 2 goblin slaves rush forward. They tightly grip the tense line. Then his insight alerts him that a 10th chest entered. It is another 2-star chest. Drag fast or lose it, he shouts for them to pull. The rope snaps taut as all 3 strain together. It is an intense tug-of-war. But with the rope anchored securely to a heavy wooden stake, he holds the ultimate advantage. The heavy pull from below finally weakens. Giving a massive heave, he begins pulling. He drags the haul onto the island, the goblin's muscles bulging. Slowly, the net surfaces. With one final, desperate heave, the 3 of them drag the massive net onto land. Exhaling a long breath, he grunts to himself that net pulling is brutal work. But wait until you see the reward, it is absolutely worth it. He inspects the catch. The net holds 9 2-star common wooden chests and 1 2-star common monster chest. The loot is massive. He gets 20 milliliter strength, constitution, and spirit potions. There is also a +1 island fragment, an energy crystal, and a special suit. He also finds a cold-proof suit, a fence blueprint, and a strange seed. A growth accelerator potion and a low-level goblin slave complete the haul. It is a full novice potion set, his highly sought fragment, and a crystal. Plus, another monster chest means more free labor. He focuses on the new items. First, the special suit offers both waterproof and extreme cold-proof protection. It can easily withstand freezing temperatures down to -30 degrees. Next, the blueprint. With the right materials, it builds a 2-meter-high thorn fence around a 10 by 10 meter area. It requires 100 thorns. He also has a carnivorous plant seed. Once fully grown, this deadly plant can guard his home like a loyal watchman. It is capable of easily killing ordinary humans. The growth cycle takes time. 1 month to germinate, up to 4 for the seedling, and 9 to grow. Flowering takes up to 12 months, and it lives incredibly long unless destroyed. Thankfully, the growth accelerator potion is the perfect shortcut nutrient solution. It miraculously shortens a whole year-long growth cycle down to just 3 days. The ingredients are simple: ordinary energy, crystal powder, and water. Incredible. Honestly, he realizes these energy crystals are practically a cheat code early on. Shaking his head, he steps forward to retrieve the 3 potion chests. He downs the strength, constitution, and spirit potions one by one. The triple stack hits his system incredibly hard, but his insight confirms there is no danger. He would not have dared otherwise, as the potent cocktail completely ravages his body. Meanwhile, the regional channel is buzzing. One survivor reports summoning a living person. Another survivor asks if it is a male or female, while a third demands proof. The finder clarifies it is a male who recognized him as master immediately. The servant shows up on his panel with 60 loyalty, but then a warning comes. A veteran warns him that anything under 60 loyalty risks a swift betrayal. Naturally, someone else asks if they can eventually open a cat girl or bunny girl. He is told to focus on surviving the novice period when the container opens. The man inside is Wang Dong, the foolish young traitor who already crossed him twice. This newly summoned servant is a stout, honest-looking middle-aged man. Wang Dong grumbles under his breath, wishing he had fished up a girl instead. But the system pings him. His new servant, Gap, senses Wang Dong's disregard. His loyalty drops by 1. The system warns that below 60 loyalty, servants resist. Go below 0 and they turn hostile. Wang Dong curses this high-maintenance summon. Did he summon a servant or a demanding master? Suddenly, Gap's stomach rumbles. Wang Dong instantly knows how to fix this. He promises Gap a good meal. To win him over, he quickly prepares a hot bucket of instant noodles. He hands over the noodles and calls him by name. Gap accepts them eagerly. Dresses him as Lord, picks up his chopsticks, and starts digging in. Wang Dong quietly mocks his old-fashioned manners, but Gap takes a big bite. The big man's eyes light up. The system pings that Gap feels appreciated. With loyalty up by 10 points, Wang Dong sighs in relief, finally stable. Gap quickly devours the noodles and soup, then shoots him a longing look. Wang Dong curses the man's huge appetite, but he cannot resist that sweet loyalty boost. So he obediently cooks another batch, if only Wang Dong knew about Soyu Island. The absolute loyalty of the goblins there would make him green with envy. Once the intense rush of the 3 potions finally fades, he shivers involuntarily. He roars toward the sky to release the residual energy, stretching his limbs. Now it is time to open the monster chest. Extra labor is always welcome. He fires the monster pistol, and a low-level goblin drops onto the dirt. The confused creature barely registers its surroundings before the other goblins kneel in fright. He selects the slave option. Thanks to double happiness, he gets 2 new servants. He summons his veteran pair forward and orders them to train the newcomers. The original pair quickly nods, eager to show their new authority. Even among slaves, a natural hierarchy begins to form when numbers grow. These goblins are surprisingly smart, harbor their own tiny thoughts, and seek status. If not for their absolute, locked loyalty, he would never trust them so casually. With that settled, he opens the island expansion chest fished up from the net. Using it instantly expands his land by 2 valuable square meters. Next, he digs a small pit, drops in the carnivorous seeds, and refills the dirt. After pouring the growth accelerator on top, a vibrant green sprout breaks through. He marvels at the magic of this compound. Back on Earth, this would make fortunes. The researcher would be showered with prestigious awards. He plants the second seed. While other survivors are still working themselves to the bone for survival necessities, he has already moved past basic survival and into long-term strategic planning. He scouts the edge of the island, looking for prime fishing locations. His insight skill reveals one area is full of garbage and low-quality items. After searching several spots, he finally spots a zone rich with 2-star treasures. He orders the goblins to drive anchoring stakes before they run out of time. He casts his net, wraps the heavy rope around the wood, and claps. He heads straight for his cozy massage chair, letting his 4 slaves do the work. He has no need to pull the nets himself. He just watches from a distance. Opening the chat interface, he scrolls up to find an earlier message from Wang Dong. Wait, can you really pull a human from a chest? He wonders if it is possible. The main issue, loyalty. Human servants might start with 0 trust. If rapport takes too long, he would rather have loyal monster subordinates. Meanwhile, a random player in the chat boasts about being tired of luxury food. Tired of meat, he asks how to catch less just to feel hunger. This triggers instant rage. The entire wall turns hostile. Kill him, they scream for his death, predicting his fast demise. They pray the deities grant his wish and actually starve him to death. No backing down, the show-off doubles down and calls them all jealous losers. He proudly boasts about his own arrogance, mockingly asking what they are going to do. Scanning the wall, he is speechless. The guy is just incredibly bored. And the annoying show-off just keeps going, throwing insult after insult at the group. He mocks anyone eating dry buns and drinking cold water to survive. Are you jealous? He asks, telling them they can do absolutely nothing about it. The wall boils over. Players lose their tempers at his awful attitude. Despicable dog, someone asks why there is no report button. They call for some powerful player to punish the jerk once and for all. Is he fishing with his lifespan? Another bets he will drop dead any second. Everyone joins in. The guy is rubbing massive salt in their fresh wounds. Getting supplies is fine, but rubbing it in their faces, a completely different story. The top 10 players, including him, remain silent. He watches the drama. Truly, this man is acting out from pure boredom. Why waste precious time arguing when that time is much better spent fishing? Meanwhile, on a different island, an effeminate-looking man sits before his screen. Sly smile, he is the very show-off who has been causing all this chaos. He mutters insults at his screen, grabs his fishing rod, and jogs to the shore. And get this, the chat was actually right. He is literally fishing with his lifespan. His rare talent is a special luck boost that directly consumes his remaining life force. Sacrificing 3 days of his life grants him exactly 3 minutes of incredible luck. This dangerous ability is how he gets so many rich rewards. If he were not so stingy with his lifespan, he would be in the top 10. Back on his island, our protagonist orders his 4 goblins to haul in the net. They pull up 2 1-star chests and 8 2-star chests containing some amazing items. Inside is an island expansion fragment, an energy crystal, and 2 enhanced baits. He also finds fiberglass, a toilet, 50 kilograms of rice, and 50 kilograms of thorns. No attribute potions this time, but the toilet alone is an absolute lifesaver. At last, no more awkward moments squatting over the open ocean. Among all of these items, the enhanced bait catches his eye the most. He is missing just one ingredient to craft this bait, but it is nowhere to be found. No one has listed it on the trade channel yet, likely because it requires rare chests. Normal survivors would be utterly shocked by his fast progress. The central area of Soyu Island now boasts a beautiful European-style cabin. There are 2 Toyota vehicles parked nearby, surrounded by fresh fruit tree saplings. 4 goblin servants work the fertile soil, keeping his massive pile of supplies safe. He stares at the cabin. If only his island were larger, he could build the thorn fence. Materials are all gathered. He activates the new island fragment, and the island grows by another 2 meters, hitting 117 total, still under an 11 by 11 layout. Space meaning it is not big enough for a 10 by 10 fence, otherwise he would have no room left to fish. Suddenly, thunder shakes the sky. His scalp prickles as he looks up. The once clear sky rapidly darkens. Then, the system alerts everyone that the island weather is unpredictable and heavy rain is about to arrive. Though the storm brings a better chance of catching high star chests, he groans. At the sudden turn, he quickly orders his 4 goblins to cover the saplings and supplies with tarps, then rushes back toward the cabin, hoping there will be no strong winds, since storm winds at sea mean death. Stepping inside, he opens the chat to check on others. He sees total chaos. One player laments he is going to die because his only shelter is a flimsy thatched hut. Another has nothing but logs under a tarp. Someone else reassures the group, pointing out that the system promised better. Fishing later, another notes the storm is perfect for a quick shower and collecting water. Then someone asks if anyone thought about the wind. The first guy panics. He definitely had not. Just then, his goblins shout from the doorway that he orders them inside. After all, sick laborers only cost him more. They squeeze into the small room, just as heavy rain begins to drum against the roof. Fortunately, there is no howling wind, while basic survival logic says sea storms bring heavy winds. The 7-day protection period seems to be shielding them. Meanwhile, the chat channel is in absolute chaos. One player celebrates not needing to trade food for fresh water, while another fumes that his roasted meat got soaked. Someone mocks him, saying he totally deserved it. Another user calls the rain beautiful, while the defensive show-off insults his rival's grandmother. The protagonist's eye twitches. He is far too smart to engage with these chatroom clowns. He pushes his window open. Massive rain droplets splatter hard against the ground. It is a blessing his shelter is system-built. Normal cabins would definitely leak. Instead, it blocks the heavy storm, keeping his valuable supplies dry. 4 goblins curl up in a corner. His insight skill detects a damaged wooden chest. It only contains dry branches. He glances out the window and spots another damaged chest resting at the edge of his island. It seems heavy rain washes them up too. He watches the shoreline while keeping tabs on the world chat. Check this out. Even in this brutal world, some players are actually willing to share info. Someone asks if anyone else had chests wash up. Another user immediately asks what he means. Then another player claims a chest washed up right after he set up his tarp. Another swears nothing will stop him today. Either he or the chest is going into a coffin. A skeptic tells him he is daydreaming and warns him about his morning urine having diabetes, lest he taste sweetness when he wakes up. Another calls him a lazy panda, getting bamboo shoots delivered straight to his door. Someone else wonders what the highest star chest washed up will be. He sits deep in thought, staring at the ocean. This heavy rain is basically a lifeline for struggling survivors. He shakes the stray thought off and shuts the window. A clever goblin scurries over to present a plate of fruit. He takes a peach and he casually tells them to share the rest, and they happily thank their master. After all, for low-level goblins, getting some food is a massive delight. Meanwhile, compared to our main character, Wang Dong is shivering in a tiny cabin on his own island. If he saw how relaxed our guy is, he would sell his servant Gap in a second. Wang Dong spots chests washing ashore. He orders Gap to get them. But a system alert pings. Gap's loyalty plunges by 5 points. Huddled inside, Gap stares out at the torrential downpour and refuses to budge. Wang Dong curses. Is he a servant or an entitled ancestor? He did his best to keep Gap's loyalty around 70, but now it is dropping again. This useless leech has not even worked yet, only causing massive headaches with his wavering loyalty. The lazy bum is playing him. Suddenly, a chat pings. Wang Dong calls him boss, offering some free labor. He instantly realizes that the desperate man is trying to unload his lazy servant. Since the loyalty penalty is driving him crazy, our main character sends a quick reply. He declines no room for a 60 loyalty servant on his island. Wang Dong should keep him. The guy chuckles awkwardly and sends another text. If the boss does not want him, he will keep him and reach out later with better goods. Wang Dong stares at Gap with a massive headache, plotting a way to get rid of him. Gap's loyalty is just high enough for basic chores, but definitely not for anything dangerous. Wang Dong swears again. Gap asks his master what is wrong. Wang Dong brushes it off, turning his eyes back to the heavy storm outside. Our protagonist is completely speechless. A 60 loyalty servant really is a massive nightmare. He figures that anyone starting at 60 loyalty must have some heavy restrictions. Since Wang Dong is struggling, our main character decides to just let it go. Opening his cabin window, he activates his insight skill to scan the shores. New arrivals include a damaged, 0-star chest containing a broken iron pot. Another is a half-star wooden chest holding some sandpaper. 8 more chests are scattered nearby. 5 of them are ordinary half-star wooden chests, while the other 3 are heavily damaged. Nothing good here. The best rating that washed up is just a half-star. Interestingly, the rushing seawater seems controlled by some strange force, barely touching his cabin. The waves only hit the shoreline, leaving his dry shelter completely untouched. He doesn't pay much attention to the low-tier chests anyway. Even if they all wash back, he loses absolutely nothing. No big deal. Meanwhile, other survivors are risking their lives, constantly fighting the raging waves for scraps. They sprint into the freezing rain to grab any damaged container before it floats away. Fortunately, this localized rainstorm only lasts about 30 minutes before the dark skies finally clear. He steps outside, completely ignoring the low-tier junk chests, and turns his focus to the sea. His insight skill immediately detects a massive 4-star wooden chest resting deep beneath the surface. The system prompts him to use some enhanced bait here or look for another spot. Just as he thought post-rain odds are way better, but a 4-star isn't enough. Scanning further, he spots a legendary 5-star wooden chest sitting 5 meters deep. He attaches some enhanced bait and a heavy sinker to prepare his line. Meanwhile, over in the regional chat, other survivors are happily sharing their loot. One guy brags about hitting the jackpot after risking his life in the storm. He snagged 5 half-star chests containing fresh rice and some green vegetables. One survivor curses his terrible luck after pulling a deflated doll from his rain chest. Another laughs with joy, opening a pack of Furang Wang to satisfy a massive craving. Someone else groans because 3 of his 4 chests were completely smashed and full of garbage. A different player asks the chat if anyone is suffering quite like them. He boasts about grabbing over 12 chests, with 3 double stars loaded with rich supplies. The chat screen immediately explodes with angry insults, calling him a massive show-off and asking why he is still breathing. They curse that villains live forever, asking if his talent is just luck. That lucky player is Pong So Gang, currently cracking open chests on his tiny island. When the storm started, he decisively used his lifespan-based luck enhancement to gain an advantage. This boost sacrificed about 30 days of his life during the half-hour downpour. He is despicable but great at seizing opportunities. Before this, things were too unstable for fishing because chests never guaranteed a bite right after activation. The wait times were totally random, and his luck boost only raises the odds for high-star chests. That is normal since his talent is only a rank not god tier, plus he dares not burn too much of his lifespan. Because a genetic disease meant doctors predicted he would not live past 35. So his early hauls only barely beat average survivors. Meanwhile, our protagonist is still nervously watching the sea. Wait, there it is. The bobber plunges down. His insight reads, a 5-star ordinary wooden chest containing plus 110 square island fragments, with his fishing skill telling him to pull at constant speed initially, then quickly yank it once the resistance feels low. The fragment increases his island area by 10 square meters. He is absolutely thrilled with double the joy. The chest gives a full 20 square meters when opened. After half an hour of intense pulling, the chest is exhausted. He drags it ashore to open. 2 10-meter fragments appear out of thin air. He activates them on the spot and his island grows noticeably. Total area is now 137 meters, about a third larger than his starting 100, measuring roughly 11.7 square. Building the fence is still a hair too narrow, so he postpones it. Suddenly, a private chat from Gay. Chong-yu interrupts. He accepts since he has some spare time. She asks him for a +1 fragment in exchange for the uses of fiberglass, PB braided line, and carbon cloth. As the 4th-ranked player, she opened a +1 in her ranked chest, which she has not used directly. She also has another +1 fish from a 2-star chest, so she knows their value. He wonders if she has already gathered all 3 rod upgrade materials. After a moment, he replies that he will accept 2 fragments plus a standard energy crystal, and then he will explain the uses and even give her a handy item made from those materials. She frowns at the crystal cost since 1 crystal equals 30 bait, and her talent has only let her save 2 crystals so far, yet her intuition says trading with him is crucial for her future development, so she agrees and asks him to list the item. He posts the trade, offering a blueprint for 2 +1 fragments and 1 ordinary energy crystal. She buys it instantly. After extracting it, she holds the rod upgrade blueprint and immediately understands what fiberglass, PB braided line, and carbon cloth are for. She thanks him and says what fiberglass, PB braided line, and carbon cloth are actually for. She offers her thanks, promising to stay in touch for future trades, then carefully sets the blueprint down and the 3 materials next to her novice rod, silently using the blueprint. He doesn't reply. Instead, he activates the 2 +1 fragments. The ordinary fishing rod blueprint was useless to him. Trading it for resources was much better. Besides, he figured that blueprint only really mattered in the very early stages. He had pulled it from a 2-star chest, and with the world running for a day and a half, other lucky players might have already opened one. As for whether this trade would actually let someone steal his top ranking, he wasn't worried. High-tier players rarely rely on just a fishing rod. Real talent is what counts, and he knows this all too well. Insight reads, the next area is packed with 2-star chests, recommending a net cast. He hooks on some bait casts and orders 2 goblins to guard the rope. Scanning another spot, his insight warns him it only has low-tier half-star chests. It is not worth a net. He scans again, spotting an 8-meter deep stretch holding a 1-star black iron grade treasure chest. He curses. He can't fish for that yet. His gear is just too weak. A basic rod would snap under black iron chest, and he lacks the proper bait anyway. He can only watch and look elsewhere. Luckily, the next spot shows a 5-star ordinary wooden chest 5 meters down. Fishing is highly recommended. He locks on and casts. Meanwhile, Gai Chong-yu, who traded for his rod blueprint, has finished her own upgrade. She also holds 1 piece of enhanced bait, wondering whether she should use it now, trusting her sharp 6th sense. She targets the strongest spot she feels, attaches the bait and casts. Our guy waits patiently, unlike ordinary survivors still fighting for basic 2-star chests. Suddenly his float dips. Oh, it is on a 5-star wooden chest with strength, constitution, and spirit potions at 100 milliliters each. The fishing skill requires a careful pull and release technique. Each of these rare potions permanently boosts a base stat by 1 point, up to 5. This 3-piece set is incredible. He realizes this is an absolute jackpot. That means 2 extra points for strength, constitution, and spirit. He starts reeling it in. Time slips away. By the time he drags the chest ashore, it is already afternoon. His stomach growls. He was so focused on fishing that he missed lunch. Food first, he decides. Carrying the chest back to his cabin, he orders the goblins to fetch the roasted lamb he pulled earlier. The 2 goblins build a fire to reheat it. He carves off a leg and digs in. The goblins stare, swallowing hard. But they wouldn't dare touch the food without his permission. He tells them they can have the rest for lunch and dinner. They eagerly thank their master for the generous reward. The 4 goblins carry the lamb away to eat. Without disturbing him, he happily gnaws on his lamb leg. He has plenty of food anyway, and he knows leftovers won't taste very good by tonight. Letting the goblins feast makes sense. They still have to handle the heavy labor. Around here, they might be ugly, but they are hard workers. He wouldn't keep them around otherwise. Finished with his meal and a drink, he stretches out on the massage chair, tightly clutching his new 5-star chest. He triggers double happiness, and 6 100 milliliter attribute potions land right in his arms. Chugging all 6 at once is too risky since they are far stronger than the earlier ones. After hesitating, he decides to take them down one single bottle at a time. He pops the cork and downs the first bottle. A scorching heat immediately sweeps through his entire body. His body shakes uncontrollably. Nearly half an hour passes before the power fully settles. Letting out a heavy breath, he pops the second cork. 3 long hours slip away. Covered in sweat, he finishes the 6th bottle with a wild, newfound strength. He feels like he could punch a tiger to death. Grinning, he summons his status screen. Soyu is a level 1 island lord at age 23, owning 139 square meters. His strength and constitution have reached 3.8 plus 1.39. His base spirit has reached 4.3, and he controls 4 low-level goblin slaves. Island prosperity is 120, keeping him at rank 1. The wooden house counts for 10, and fertile soil adds another 20. 10 carnivorous plants join his legendary SSS rank Insight talent. His unknown rank double happiness talent remains fully upgradable with his island bonus. Strength, constitution, and spirit have all smashed past 5 points. He cannot measure his exact power yet, but he has another way to estimate it. By looking at a low-level goblin, its slave panel pops into view. Loyalty is at 100, meaning no betrayal, with quite basic physical attributes. It has a basic construction skill and is listed as the cheapest labor. It survives on minimal food and has the common language pre-programmed. The combat comparison reveals a massive difference. Without weapons, his stats completely outclass them. In fact, he could take on 30 of them at once. Reading this evaluation from his Insight talent, a rush of excitement washes over him. He is finally out of the weakling tier, ready for the next monster chest. When he finds one, he can charge straight in, because who does not want power? Suddenly, a system warning pings to alert every survivor on the server. Night is coming, the temperature is dropping, and they must prepare for freezing cold. Time is flying by so fast, he notes, as the sky quickly turns black. Giving the sky a quick middle finger, he ducks back into his wooden cabin. He throws on his special cold weather gear, realizing those 6 potions took hours. Stepping back outside, he sets up his solar lamp to try some night fishing. With his base spirit attribute now past 4, he is completely wired and awake. Thanks to those physical stat boosts, today's long grind barely drained his stamina. Before casting his fishing line, he habitually checks the global chat screen. The screen is filled with the usual complaints, as people curse the freezing cold. Some are praising brave fishermen and rallying others to fish through the night. Others complain they have 0 bait and survived purely on the afternoon rain. One guy grumbles his clothes are still wet, while someone calmer shares actual data. He used his last 2 baits after the storm and snagged a rare chest. It seems post-rain drop rates are high, but not everyone has good luck. Another player was almost dragged into the sea, barely escaping with his life. He had to drop his rod, and the channel is absolutely roasting him for it. Despite the dangers, morale remains high as they survive these critical first days. Survival is pretty easy if nobody acts foolishly on these tiny, non-deserted jungle islands. The chat is more spiritual comfort than any real tactical hub. Everyone keeps complaining. His prosperity rating is climbing way too fast. They call him a god, crying over how their first thatched hut only gave them a single prosperity point, joking that he must be paying to cheat. Another survivor tells the chat that even if he is cheating, he wouldn't ever admit it anyway, no point asking, he just rubs his chin and lets them speculate. If he stays quiet, nobody can ever figure out his true talent, but as he thinks, the chat suddenly devolves into Reincarnator scams. One guy claims to be the ancient Emperor Qin Zai Wang, who was alive in his tomb until this transmigration, begging for bait to repay them 100-fold later. Another scammer claims to be Nua, starving and desperate, offering to mold a custom girlfriend for anyone who sends some food. Once that first pitch drops, a whole wave of copycat scams immediately piles in. A coordinated scam syndicate, they transmigrated together and resumed old tricks. Since bait is running short, the lead scammer is getting highly frustrated because nobody in the channel is biting, and that 10-message-a-day limit is completely suffocating his silver tongue. He was a pyramid scheme leader back on Earth, tricking believers into thinking their thousands would turn into 10 million. Finally, a logical survivor warns everyone not to fall for it, saying, "These scam messages are simply aiming for their last bait portions and should Be ignored, he throws together some quick food, eats, and walks to the edge of his island. The solar lamp and both Toyota headlights illuminate the entire island brightly, though the visibility into the water is much worse than during the day. His insight skill only scans the water close by, showing absolutely nothing beyond that. The first scan tells him there is a monster under the sea here, warning him to be careful. His brows immediately furrow. After 2 days of fishing, he hasn't detected any living creature in the water other than the goblins he opens from chests. Now one appears and the timing feels suspicious. Then a sudden splash, something breaks the water surface. His headlights catch a fleeting glimpse of the creature as it surfaces. His insight identifies it as a sea monkey with strength of 3.5 and constitution of 3.5. It has low nerve pain perception, making it very difficult to kill with guns unless vital spots are hit. The system says it is a common monster that new survivors face right after their 7-day protection period. During these 7 days, it won't attack the island itself but can linger nearby. Diving in is absolute suicide. The combat power comparison shows him that it can be easily defeated on land but would easily wear him down to death underwater. He wonders if that brave guy who went diving a few days ago ran into one of these. Still, he isn't panicked. Most fear comes from the unknown, and once his insight lays out the data, he can easily accept it. Scanning the illuminated water, he finds no other sea monkeys, even if they wanted to attack. It can only happen after the protection period. Worrying now is totally pointless. He just keeps fishing until his insight suddenly flags a 5-star chest. With the system recommending fishing, he scans the water, baits his hook, and casts. Now he waits. Whether night fishing has some hidden buff, the float dips quickly. Less than 3 minutes pass. Insight reveals a 5-star ordinary wooden chest. Inside is a 100 refined goose feather saber, requiring expert rod control. He must alternate slack and tension. The weapon is forged from 100 refined profound iron, razor sharp, and capable of cutting through solid metal. It is 118 centimeters long, 3.5 wide, and slightly curved. It features a reverse edge near the tip, a perfect melee weapon, he notes. Following the proper technique, he reels it ashore quickly with his enhanced strength. In Constitution, pulling chests is easy now. He opens it, double happiness triggers. He gets 2 sabers, and both blades plunge straight into the dirt right before him. They gleam with cold light. He draws one, giving it a casual test swing. Balance feels absolutely perfect, but if an ordinary survivor tried wielding this, their low stats would definitely hold them back from handling the heavy blade. They would tire out after just a few swings. Luckily, his stats are high. With this weapon, taking off a sea monkey's head with one blow is easy. He takes a brief moment to pity the sea monkeys eyeing Soyu Island. After swinging the weapon through empty air a dozen times, he sheathes it. With his strength and this razor-sharp edge, any landing intruder gets sliced. He has never trained in systematic swordsmanship, but that does not even matter. A chaotic flurry of strikes can easily overwhelm any master with enough speed. Besides, his physical attributes are far above the average sea monkey baseline anyway. With his night fishing off to a strong start, he strolls along the shore. Spotting a dense area of 2-star chests, his insight recommends a net. He calls his goblins over to bring the net. He attaches 10 bait. After casting it out, he drives a secure stake and ties off the thick rope. This basic net is a true beginner lifesaver. He casts a second one. Meanwhile, another survivor named Wang Dong is about to face total terror. Attempting some night fishing of his own, he gets scared out of his mind. He was setting up 2 flashlights and preparing to relieve himself when something flashes. A dark shape suddenly darts across the water. He shivers in absolute dread, nearly making a mess before backing away, pulling up his pants and staring. Gulping hard, he wonders if sea ghosts actually exist in this world. He pinches his thigh. The sudden pain confirms these ocean monsters are real. Panicking, he opens the global chat to ask if others have spotted monsters. Since he is currently ranked 10th, his warning gets noticed instantly. One person asks for details, another wonders if it is the diving creature again. A third player guesses sea ghosts straight out of popular horror novels. Someone else scoffs, joking about sea monkeys. The entire channel goes wild. Everyone is debating Wang Dong's post, with no real answers in public. He sends a desperate private message begging for help, warning that people will die. Our main character is still busy fishing when the message alert suddenly pings him. Knowing Wang Dong probably spotted those sea monkeys too, he accepts the message. With his enhanced spirit, his mind is sharp and the picture clicks together. He types back a direct response: "If you're still alive, report what you saw. Otherwise, there is no need." He does not want the dead haunting his dreams. He replies that he is alive, scaly and very human-like. He saw nothing else, but the guy is sharp, having already figured out from the chat that regular survivors do not know what this is, but the MC might, so he offers a paid trade, 1 crystal for some basic info. This is total robbery. The trader winces. He spent 2 days reselling the MC's info. He bought from the MC. A full crystal is way too steep, he asks. If it can be cheaper, the MC remains completely silent after 5 minutes. Of silence, the trader finally accepts that he is being ignored. He is reluctant to spend a crystal, but sends a message saying he will trade when rich. The MC keeps fishing. Meanwhile, in the chat, a new topic takes over. Someone claims they finally figured out what those ordinary energy crystals are actually for, saying that when crushed and mixed with 300 grams of flour, they make 30 baits. The chat wall explodes. Everyone is shocked. They praise the announcer as a saint, comparing him to the greedy first discoverer who refused to share. Another survivor snipes that the keyboard warriors who keep secrets are useless, predicting that once the protection period ends and they die, absolutely everything except their loud mouths will go soft. Many arrows aim at our MC because he has held the top spot since day 1. And most cannot even message him unless they pass his strict filter. Survivors get jealous, which is completely normal. That is why he rarely speaks unless he is buying things. He does not care. His only priority is survival, not daily verbal warfare. The other top 10 survivors watch coldly, several of them sneering. They decide the channel is just full of absolute fools who will be crying once the top ranker gets the power to punish regular survivors. As for Wang Dong, the moment he sees the name of the man who leaked the secret, he wishes he could stab him twice. After all, that man paid Wang Dong resources to learn the secret first. The schemer is Lai Jiang, who bought the secret from Wang Dong and immediately broadcast it. He figured the secret would leak with time anyway, so he chose to strike first to build up his heroic persona. Before the knowledge became common, his actual plan was to use that built-up trust to scam people next. Currently, his light screen is absolutely flooded with private messages. He smirks as the messages flood in. The fish are biting his bait. Honestly, you just know a ton of poor souls are about to get scammed. Meanwhile, our protagonist has just fished up a pretty unique item. The ordinary water-repelling bead lets him push back water for 2 hours. With a maximum diving depth of 50 meters, recharging 10% per hour in sunlight. He rolls the bead in his fingers, considering sending a goblin down to scout the depths, but he quickly dismisses the dangerous idea. Sea monkeys are lurking, making a goblin easy prey in the pitch-black night. Any scout dive must happen in daylight. He slips one bead around his neck and pockets the other. Nearby, a goblin suddenly yells out that the fishing net is moving. The MC jogs over. His insight reveals 3 1-star and 7 2-star fish. Inside there is fiberglass, a simple net, and a 20 milliliter physique potion, 200 rounds of Type 59 ammo, and an area fragment plus an ordinary loyalty potion, a diesel generator, and steak. Mai in 2 large tents. He orders his goblin to haul up the net. The beast obeys. Every single cast yields 6 or 7 2-star chests, which proves his base is incredibly rich. Other survivors survive on dry bread and cold water, while he has an entire cabin just for storing chests. Even with a basic net, regular survivors cannot match his pace, because they cannot target the exact zones to pull a single 2-star chest. But for him, a minimum baseline of 1.5 stars plus double happiness ensures the math is on his side. He drags the net ashore, sorting the chests with the area fragment, the 20 milliliter physique potion, and the loyalty potion, letting his goblins carry everything else into the cabin. The ordinary loyalty potion lets a low-level servant gain 30 loyalty points with a recommendation to use it at 70 loyalty for fanaticism. That is a solid item, he thinks, realizing that acquiring Wang Dong's servant might actually be possible, but since he already rejected the guy, he will not approach him directly. The thought drifts while he acts. One more basic servant will not change his life that much anyway. He activates the 2+1 fragments first, then chugs the 2. Physique potions, either his body has built a tolerance from before, or his stats are already too high, but the tingling is faint. It lasts barely 5 minutes, if his status panel did not show constitution. Climbing, he would have suspected fakes. He wants every attribute at 5, so he grabs the simple fishing net to circle his island once again. His insight reveals stretch after stretch of 1 star or damaged chests. None are worth a cast. After a dozen moves, he finds nothing suitable and wonders if he has fished too aggressively to let things refresh. Shrugging, he sits back on his massage chair, lights a cigarette, and decides to browse the world chat instead. Scrolling back, the wall is targeting him. Honestly, why should he care? Empty insults cannot hurt him. His life is amazing and they cannot even imagine it. He is no saint and has no desire to be. The late-night crowd is still active. One guy jokes that the big shots are busy fishing while everyone else floods the channel. Another tells him to stop complaining and just count. How rarely the top 10 players ever speak, noting that the #1 rank only posts trade listings before vanishing. Someone else sighs that this is his second day of envying the boss and missing his girlfriend. A crude joke offers an inflatable substitute, which he flatly rejects. Another complains about freezing inside their tent. He scans the chat, since he has not used his daily trades yet. He sets up a fresh listing. The market is empty of anything good. He lists requests for attributes and island fragments, pinning his offer at the very top. The chat explodes instantly. Everyone marvels that the #1 powerhouse is back, begging for food, offering weird trades, or speculating on his insane progress. He knows those attribute potions are pure stat boosters and chuckles that others are still struggling for food while he has moved way ahead. He quickly updates his trade listing. His offer contains 8 kilograms of rice or 4 kilograms of meat, a pack of Furong Wang cigarettes plus 3 steaks. He wants a strength potion in exchange. He sets a limit of 4, a constitution potion needing 2, or even a spirit potion needing 3+1 island area fragment. He notes that any potion or fragment can be exchanged for the full bundle, since other survivors have plenty of water. After the recent rain, he tweaked the trade conditions slightly compared to before. Besides, 2-star chest loot is incredibly rich. His double happiness skill doubles everything anyway. He literally cannot lose. Plus, this helps clear out the mountain of chests in his cabin. Only survivors opening rare 2-star chests would even have these valuable items. A low offer would never work. Instantly, the public chat channel reacts again. They notice his pinned post. Some lament that they have absolutely none of these. A single trade could sustain them for days. One user calls him filthy rich, accusing him of being a cold-blooded monster for not sharing his food. Another laughs. He jokes about people willing to donate millions of imaginary dollars, who suddenly get quiet when asked to give away their actual car. Generosity is easy until things get real. Another laughs at the keyboard warriors, trying to morally guilt-trip the boss, acting like they still live in a peaceful world. He pins another message: first come, first served, and once today's trades are gone, he is done. A survivor yells to hurry up, having just pulled a +1 fragment from a chest and finding the deal generous. The price is great. Still, few survivors possess both a fragment and spare food. Suddenly, the system pings. A successful trade. He is told to retrieve the fragment. His food package vanishes instantly. He quickly withdraws his brand new +1 fragment. He silently activates it. Watch his territory expand. A clean power play. His island grows by another square meter to 142. Another ping. A second trade goes through. This time, it is a 20 milliliter strength potion. Potions up for sale. He is completely amazed. He never expected anyone to sell what is easily the best early game stat boost, but he overlooked a detail. Other survivors awaken bizarre talents that can make specific potions completely useless. For instance, this seller has a raw brute strength talent as an innate skill. It grants an initial strength of 5, making that painstakingly fished up strength potion practically useless. They almost drank it out of pure frustration before reading the warning, but he does not need to know any of that as long as they are selling. Trading basic goods for stats is pure profit. Potions like these are mostly hidden inside rare 2-star chests, making them highly scarce. Soon, the busy trade window grows quiet. He finishes the strength potion. He clenches his fist, feeling the sudden bump. He stands up, walking the perimeter of his island, searching the waters for spawns. His insight ability scans the area, only low-tier spots, not worth the effort. Suddenly, a reading detects a small sea monkey monster, 5 meters deep in one spot. He wonders if he can lure this annoying creature onto his island and beat it to death. Just seeing it always annoys him. He decides to give. To try tomorrow in broad daylight, he wanders more but finds nothing else. He drags his fishing rod back to the cabin with a sigh, drops it inside and steps out. He walks over to the bonfire where his 4 goblins are huddled and orders them to take night watch shifts in pairs. The small creatures quickly agree to his command. He nods, slides into his Toyota, strips off his freezing cold weather gear, and turns on the air conditioning to relax. Sleep does not come easily right away, but resting still helps. Soon he drifts off. When he finally opens his eyes, morning light floods the sky. Quite comfortable, he mutters while stretching his arms and pushing the car door open. A goblin rushes over to report that absolutely nothing unusual happened around their small island overnight. He nods and waves the creature toward the cabin to fetch breakfast before heading to the simple toilet at the island's edge to relieve himself. After a quick morning routine, he washes up, eats, and grabs his fishing rod again. He is ready to find a perfect spot. As he prepares to cast, the system suddenly pings him to claim his daily bait reward. He accepts 20 baits. That is worth a whole ordinary energy crystal. His insight skill reveals a nearby area holding traces of 4- and 5-star chests. Another spot shows a guaranteed 5-star chest. The system strongly recommends fishing here. He locks onto the target, casts his line, and waits. Rank list chests are locked until tomorrow. Suddenly his fishing float dips. His insight reveals a 5-star wooden chest containing a smart navigation map. It points to an uninhabited island less than 3 nautical miles away. This map details a small 100-square-meter landmass right thereon. The shore sits an intact island heart, perfect for expanding his own territory. 3 nautical miles is roughly 5.5 kilometers, he calculates. The potential payoff here is massive, thanks to his physical strength and sharp insight. There is zero risk of the prize slipping off his hook. After 20 tense minutes, he drags it ashore. His double happiness skill triggers, duplicating the map into 2 palm-sized screens, showing a green start and blue destination. Both devices point to the exact same location. He is not too disappointed, since the replication skill duplicates items perfectly without altering their coordinates. He stops fishing immediately and calls over his goblin crew, directing 2 of them to climb aboard his speedboat. He had previously traded with Wang Dong for this boat, keeping it fully fueled. Luckily, these goblins possess a natural knack for handling machines. They managed to learn the basic controls in just under an hour, even if they only dared to drive in short circles close to the safety of home. He boards the vessel, carefully scanning the surrounding waters for any potential danger. Finding nothing unusual, he orders the goblin crew to start the engine. They rev it up and he points toward the path shown on his map. They head straight out. He sits back, closely monitoring the water and the screen. Suddenly his insight pings, just 5 meters beneath the surface behind them. Deadly sea monkeys are lurking, leaving his island's protective barrier has made him a prime target. He instantly commands the goblins to floor it. The boat surges forward with power, hitting a smooth 40 to 60 knots. A swimming humanoid creature simply cannot match that kind of high-speed chase. The threat indicator fades. He either outran it or it gave up. He remains cautious. Roughly 4 minutes later, a tiny island appears ahead, looking remarkably like his own. He reaches the edge a minute later, ordering the 2 goblins to secure the boat. He steps onto the deserted island. His insight system identifies it as a level 1 abandoned wasteland. It was left behind after its lord died, leaving a harmless island heart at the center. He can take it directly, but a warning note reveals that once the heart is taken, the entire island will collapse and sink within 1 minute. He has to move fast. After grabbing it, he spots a collapsed wooden hut in the middle. The wreckage looks fresh. It makes him wonder if other humans or strange beings were sent here before them. While he ponders, that stubborn sea monkey from earlier is still struggling toward the shore. The creature is incredibly relentless, but he tells himself to let it go for now. Getting the heart comes first. He immediately heads toward the ruined hut. Getting closer, he notices massive claw marks torn deep into the shattered wooden beams. They suggest the previous island lord was dragged off by a sea monkey. He shakes it off. He clears the heavy timbers. With his newly enhanced strength, the massive logs go flying. Beneath the rubble, a glowing, pale yellow crystal-like object sits resting on the ground. His insight reveals it is a level 1 island heart, formed after its master perished. It only has a 6-month lifespan before it shatters completely into useless dust. Integrating this item will allow him to expand his own home territory. He grabs it. The crystal is heavy, weighing at least 100 pounds. His upgraded body makes lifting it easy. He sprints back toward the speedboat, knowing this landmass will crumble in 1 minute. Getting caught in a massive water vortex is not on his agenda today. He leaps aboard. He orders the goblins to gun the engine and head back. They quickly obey. The deserted island shakes violently under their feet, threatening to collapse at any moment. He urges the goblins to max out the speed while scanning the surrounding waters. The stubborn sea monkey reaches the crumbling island, watching its prey escape once again. It watches the strange boat. Its mind is consumed by muddled rage. Its clan elders always claimed that these two-legged monsters were weak, fragile things. One good strike should kill him. The sea monkey dives in, chasing his fast-moving boat. But it could not catch him before, and it definitely cannot keep pace now. Behind them, the deserted island finally collapses, vanishing completely into the deep sea. He notices the density of chests here is incredibly thick. Talk about a gold mine. But trying to fish while speeding is too risky. 5 or 6 minutes later, he returns safely to his home island. A system notification suddenly pops up. It asks if he wants to integrate the island heart. He immediately confirms the upgrade. The crystal in his hand bursts into brilliant yellow light, merging directly into the soil. The island begins to expand rapidly. Then, a system alert pings. It congratulates him for being the very first person in this region to reach level 2. This milestone grants him 500 prosperity points, along with a special upgrade chest. He claims the chest. Inside, he finds a rare Tier 1 marrow cleansing pill. This powerful pill allows an ordinary person to cleanse their marrow completely. It reshapes their constitution, with effects depending on their body. The rare materials include Millennium Fleeceflower Root, Ginseng, and Blood Essence Grass. Along with Polygonum and Marrow Cleansing Grass, a system note warns him that the first pill has the absolute strongest effect, the second is only half as potent. The third is halved again and the fourth does nothing. Is this cultivation now? He jokes to himself. These legendary Millennium-grade materials suggest a massive journey ahead. A complete physical transformation begins. Opening the level 2 chest activates his double happiness. This yields 2 pills. He pops the stoppers, catching a whiff of a unique medicinal fragrance, and pours out a pill the size of a longan fruit, swallowing the first as warmth spreads. From his abdomen throughout his body, his joy lasts less than 3 seconds before he sprints toward his makeshift toilet at a speed that would shame an Olympic runner. He relieves himself with immense satisfaction. About half an hour passes. A handsome young man supporting himself against the wooden door slowly emerges from the toilet with trembling legs. If anyone with a weaker constitution had taken this pill, they would die instantly after resting on his island for a while. His color comes back. Suddenly his nostrils twitch because the smell pouring off him is completely unbearable. He starts undressing in disgust and orders the goblins to bring him several buckets of water. Loyal servants are incredibly useful for handling these basic chores. They quickly fill up several buckets with seawater and bring them over. He lifts the first bucket, pouring the cold water over himself from head to toe, then scrubs thoroughly for 20 minutes, ending up shirtless in a clean pair of large shorts on his massage chair. He decides to save the second pill for later because taking both at once would probably end him. His insight warns of sea monkey traces lurking below the surface again. Honestly, this stubborn beast must have a death wish, and he will find a way to kill it underwater today. First, he pulls up his status panel. Level 2 Lord with 241 meters. Experience is 241 of 400. Strength is 6.8 plus 2.41. Constitution 7 plus 2.41. Spirit is 4.4 plus 2.41. He has 4 low-level goblin slaves, adding 20 points. Prosperity is at 750. His rank 1 wooden house adds 10 points. Goblins add 20, saplings 15, fertile soil 20, and his carnivorous plants give 10. His talents include triple S grade insight and unknown grade double happiness, both still upgradable. The marrow cleansing pill is incredibly potent. Because it broke his basic attribute limit of 5, he taps into the trade channel to withdraw his strength and constitution potion orders, leaving only his listings for spirit and island fragments. Meanwhile, the global chat is in an absolute uproar. The top-ranked player's prosperity score just jumped by 500 points. Talk about a massive flex. Everyone is screaming, wondering what absurd treasure the big boss just obtained, completely shocked that anyone's prosperity could skyrocket by 500. They lament the massive gap between them, claiming he must be cheating or playing on an entirely different server. One even asks if he needs a loyal sidekick to carry his bags. Others are practically dying of pure envy. Wang Du and Gay Changyu, who have traded with him before, feel completely powerless looking at the massive leaderboard gap. They tell themselves that absolutely nobody can push this monstrous guy down. The rest of the top 10 players fall completely silent in this moment, and the exact same silence washes over everyone near the top of the rankings. After all, a soldier who does not strive to become a general is not a good soldier, and these top rankers were definitely aiming for first place while he previously held the lead. That margin at least felt somewhat surmountable. Now, most of them are completely disheartened and broken. They mutter that it is not their lack of strength, but his insane cheats holding them back, wondering who can actually compete, but he does not care. He skips the chat knowing his prosperity jump will draw enough attention anyway. Besides, there is absolutely nothing to gain from reading the chat wall. Everyone is hundreds of thousands of miles away, so showing off through a screen is pointless. Instead, he focuses on how to lure that annoying sea monkey to the surface. His goal is a clean, one-hit kill. He orders a goblin to fetch some raw meat. The beast is instructed to tie it with a rope and toss it into the flagged zone. He leaps onto the speedboat, gripping his level 100 refined goose feather saber. Staying on the island triggers the barrier, which keeps the monkey from rising up. He has to leave safety and personally bait the beast out. With his enhanced body and the water-repelling bead, direct underwater combat is viable. Battle would lean heavily in his favor, but taking unnecessary risks is foolish. It is always better to play it safe, so he remains extremely cautious. Deep below, the monkey spots the raw meat dangling right above its head. Feeling instantly insulted, the creature starts swimming toward the surface at high speed. It senses that the two-legged beast has finally left the protective island. With his insight skill active, the monster has nowhere to hide. The water erupts with a deafening splash as the monkey screeches, launching itself upward. It pounces straight toward him, a savage look of excitement plastering its face. But that joy turns into pure confusion a second later. His insight had already mapped the beast's trajectory, and his saber was already swinging. The monkey is cleanly beheaded midair, both halves splashing back into the ocean. Dark blood blooms across the waves, and he mutters a curse at the messy aftermath. He curls his lip in pure distaste, looking at his blood-splattered speedboat. Perhaps past deaths built his tolerance, or his high spirit has dulled his disgust. Beheading the monster felt no different than prepping a chicken for dinner. He waits for a treasure chest notification, but nothing pops up, leaving him frustrated. Leaping back onto the island, he decides to leave the messy cleanup to his goblins. Still, a strange wave of curiosity makes him want a closer look at the corpse. He orders his green servants to wash the boat and retrieve the dead beast. The loyal goblins split up instantly, 2 to scrub and 2 to salvage. Heading into the cabin, he pulls out his thorn fence blueprint and a locked chest. He decides to crack open the unopened material chest first. Thanks to his double happiness perk, he nets 100 pieces of thorn material. He tosses down the blueprint and quietly confirms his selection to the system. After picking a secure spot, he watches the wood magically transform into thorn barriers. Within a minute, a 2-meter-high fence fully encloses a 10 by 10 area. He doubts this will stop sea monkeys since their tough scales resist thorns. Still, it should provide a decent defense against other invading monsters. He pushes the heavy gate open and steps inside his newly fortified compound. From this point on, accessing the island core requires passing through these gates. The goblins return from their hard labor and stare in complete confusion. They had been so busy cleaning that they missed the entire construction process. He steps back outside holding his rod, and the cleaning crew rushes over. They proudly report a clean boat while the salvage crew points to the headless corpse. Approaching the monster, he reads the system prompt confirming it is completely inedible. Recommending it be used as flower fertilizer, he looks over at the carnivorous plants which are nearly mature and about to bloom from the growth accelerant, and tells his goblins to dump the body under the roots. Then he heads off to find a fishing spot. Together, the goblins hoist the corpse. The two carnivorous plants are on the east and west sides of the island, leaning right against the fence. The goblins drop the carcass at the roots. Instantly, the unbloomed plant starts to move, driving several thick roots straight into the flesh, drinking it down like a soda. The goblins back away, shivering. If anyone were watching, they would see the eastern plant, fed on that sea monkey, has slightly better attributes than the western one. His insight scans the water. One stretch holds mostly 1-star and 2-star targets, definitely not recommended. Another spot has a cluster of 2 stars, recommended for a net or rod. He finds a net spot but quickly loses interest in catching 2-star trash. His real target is 5-star loot, since he has some enhanced bait. Remaining, insight spots a 5-star chest 5 meters down. Fishing is highly recommended here. He casts the net first, wandering around before locking onto his rod spot. He baits the hook, casts the line, and once it hits the water, the waiting game begins. No shortcuts here. We all know how tedious fishing can be. Luckily, he is doing targeted fixed-point fishing. It does not take long before that 5-star chest at the bottom bites. From what he has noticed, high-star chests usually stick together, rarely clustering with low-tier loot, though lower ranks tend to mingle quite a bit. At least every 5-star chest he has scanned so far follows this exact rule, while trash clusters of half or 1-star items might occasionally hide a rare 2-star. Meanwhile, 2-star clusters might house some lower-tier stuff. Just then, the float dips. Insight reveals a 5-star wooden chest below, holding a spool of 100-year ice silkworm silk. It is a premium material for making lines. Combined with his black iron fishing rod blueprint, this can upgrade his basic rod to black iron grade. Plus, the silk itself is temperature resistant and incredibly strong. It is his second upgrade material, and his mood instantly brightens. This upgrade will make reeling in 5-star loot a breeze, letting him hunt black iron chests with the right bait. But there is still that pesky bait shortage to solve. Compared to his massive pile of normal bait, he only has 3 pieces of enhanced bait left. Once those are gone, he is out of luck. Reeling carefully, he drags the chest onto dry land. Since he does not have all the upgrade materials yet, he sets the chest aside unopened. Suddenly, his trade channel pings. That 20 milliliter mental potion has sold. He had only scored a single strength potion and a +1 fragment last night, with nothing else coming through when he withdrew the strength and constitution by orders earlier. Several potential sellers were left drowning in regret. They had only been waiting for him to raise the price, but got hit with a delisting instead. Nobody expected him to pull the plug so fast, and honestly, neither did he. There was no point waiting to stack his stats to 5 points with potions before swallowing that marrow-cleansing pill, since his insight already warned him that the pill's efficacy relies entirely on his base physical stats, meaning a stronger body actually discounts the pill, making a level 2 reward less effective. Saving it for later is even more wasteful, so he extracts the mental potion. A bottle appears in his hand, and he uncorks it to take a massive gulp. The first taste is incredibly refreshing, but the second sip instantly clears his mind. It feels like drinking ice-cold cola in the dead of summer. 3 minutes later, he mutters. The rush is less intense this time, because his mental attributes and resistances have increased. Feeling a bit lazy, he opens up the global trade channel to see what is new. Someone named Wang listed a single tent for 15 wood, while another user posts cigarettes. They wanted 1 kilogram of instant food in exchange, aside from his own pin listing. The entire front page is dominated by food trades. He runs a quick search. Enhanced bait yields absolutely nothing. Ordinary energy crystals also show 0 results. Now that crystal usage is public, nobody is selling, which is exactly what he expected. He tries a third search. A 5-star wooden chest shard actually has 1 seller. A female survivor listed a single 5-star wooden chest shard with unknown use. She wants 5 kilograms of food, 1 cold weather item, and 10 pieces of wood. He does not hesitate for a second, inputs the items, and hits buy. Instantly, the transaction goes through, and the wooden shard materializes directly in front of him. It is a fragment salvaged from a damaged 5-star wooden chest. Combined with ordinary energy crystals, it can be crafted into enhanced bait. Without this trade, he would have had to smash his own valuable chests. Sacrificing their precious contents just to secure the shards would have hurt. Luckily, he still has crystals, and his goblins keep producing standard bait. Meanwhile, on a completely different island, the survivor named Shay is waiting. The survivor named Shay nearly jumps when the successful trade notification rings. He had put up that useless item obtained from today's guaranteed fishing. His face had lit up seeing the 5-star label, only to fall seconds later. He had absolutely no idea what to do with a simple scrap of wood. Still, he was no fool and researched market prices carefully first. He posted the shard on the channel, hoping some wealthy player would take the bait. Plenty of people saw the listing, but nobody wanted to gamble on unknown materials. Spending precious resources on a mystery item was a luxury they could not afford. But our main character has different plans. He heads inside with his crafting materials. Inside the cabin, he crushes the shard and crystals, mixing them into a bowl. He adds flour and water, kneading everything together into a consistent paste. This recipe yields 10 portions of enhanced bait instead of the usual 5. He wishes he had more shards to scale up his production even further, while others use this bait to fish for random mid-tier chests. His unique abilities guarantee him nothing but top-tier 5-star chests. He gathers the bait, steps outside, and walks right to the island's edge. Over the next several hours, he pulls up one massive chest every single hour. 8 hours fly by, and the nightfall notification warns him to bundle up. He stretches his arms, staring at the 8 massive wooden chests lined up. Cracking them open brings a massive smile to his face as rewards pile high. He gets a rod blueprint, a +10 island expansion fragment, 500 kilograms of rice, 300 kilograms of Wagyu beef, and 10 crystals. He also pulls a warning system and some protective thorn armor from the haul. The hook, the blueprint, and the 100-year ice silkworm silk, paired with his own refined profound iron, will upgrade his ordinary rod to black iron grade. Too bad no black iron bait dropped this time. The special warning device is solar-powered tech from another world, monitoring every living creature within a 10-meter warning radius once activated. After hitting the power button, the user can manually shield specific targets from the scan. The soft thorn armor is a handcrafted item from another world, granting high-level defense capable of resisting 100 refined goose feather saber, but he shouldn't blindly trust its defense and still dodge. Staring at the armor, his mind flashes to a drama from his past life. He quickly shakes the thought off, selecting the chest with the black iron hook, the upgrade blueprint, and the +10 fragment. Double happiness gives him 2 of each, plus 2 more +10 fragments. He activates them, and his island grows by another 20 square meters. He rushes inside, digging out the 100 refined profound iron and ice silkworm silk, placing them next to his ordinary rod. The system asks if he wants to use the black iron fishing rod blueprint, the 100 refined profound iron, the 100-year ice silkworm silk, and black iron profound hook to upgrade his ordinary rod. He confirms. The blueprint dissolves into white light, fusing the rod and other materials together. A strange force takes over. 5 minutes later, the upgraded rod appears right in front of him. This new rod can easily fish for black iron grade 3-star and below treasure chests, with a note warning that the line and hook are incredibly sharp, doubling as deadly weapons, but he must be careful not to cut himself. The next upgrade requires 200 refined profound iron, 2 black iron hooks, 200-year ice silkworm silks, and 1 black iron grade fishing rod. Enhanced blueprint for the next tier. His brow furrows. He thought a black iron grade rod could fish black iron 5-star chests directly. It seems he was overthinking things, since he still needs another upgrade. Forget it, he tells himself, since he does not even have any ordinary black iron bait. Thinking too far is useless. He grabs the rod from the ground and casually flicks it. A powerful whoosh echoes. Oh, he messed up. Completely forgetting he is indoors, he curses as the hook arcs right into the cabin wall, embedding itself. Luckily, the hook is so sharp that no damage occurs, though he must use a knife to carve the wood to pull it out. He sets the rod aside and picks up the special warning device. The screen glows as he presses the switch, and a mechanical voice asks him to follow the prompts. Pressing his middle finger to the screen for identity binding, he confirms and binds his identity. Proceed with monitoring. Yes, he confirms. An invisible wave pulses from the device. The system pings that 5 life forms are detected. within the warning range, asking if he wants to include them in the shielding zone. He confirms and the red light stops flashing. He scans the surroundings, glances at the device and tosses it inside. By the time he is done, the sky has completely darkened. The goblins have lit a bonfire and set up the solar lamp. Efficiently, his haul today is easily beyond 5-star quality, with plenty of extra loot. He snagged 2 2-star chests with his net, leaving most of them unopened inside the cabin. He grabs some food from his shelter, steps past the fence, and walks over to the bonfire. His island now spans 261 square meters, so he sends his goblins to sleep outside. They act as his night watch. He provides each one with a tent and winter gear. Since they are loyal subordinates, he treats them well, handing over some instant food. He tells them to eat up, then heads off to patrol the outer edge of his island. He does not eat with them, because dining with monsters would completely ruin his appetite. Using his insight, he scans the dark waters to read the chest rarities around him. One area is empty, another has 1-star chests, and some have scattered 2-star ones. Finding no 5-star chests anywhere, he rubs his nose in slight disappointment. Perhaps he fished too much during the day, and the system is still restocking them. Shaking his head, he carries his rod back to the cabin and starts up a new fire. He sets up a pot outside and starts frying some juicy steaks. He has some vegetables locked in chests, but he is too lazy to stir-fry them tonight. Meat and fruit are more convenient. Letting goblins cook for him is out of the question. He fries 7 or 8 steaks at once, his appetite having grown alongside his physical fitness. He is turning into a bottomless pit who needs massive amounts of food. While eating his steak, he opens up the global chat to check on other survivors. Every passing day shaves down the safety period. Things are bound to get crazy. Someone frantically cries for help. He saw a dark shadow while relieving himself. He was absolutely terrified, desperately asking the channel if it could be a monster. Another player tells him to drop the maybe, confirming it is absolutely a monster. He points out a top 10 ranked player ran into the exact same creature. Talk about terrifying. Wang Dong chimes in. The creature is lurking near his island too. He believes it won't attack within the first 7 days, but after that, who knows? He wonders if other survivors have already spotted these strange sea monkeys around. After thinking it over, he decides to type out a helpful warning in the chat. He warns them about a sea monster called a sea monkey, though he cannot confirm if it is their beast. This creature is covered in tough scales, boasting strength 3 or 4 times that of humans. It moves swiftly in water, has simple intelligence, and he literally just killed one today. The chat completely explodes. Honestly, who wouldn't lose their mind over this? Someone thanks him for the tip, glad to know what the creature actually is. Another user shudders at the thought of a monster 3 times stronger than a human. They ask if they would just get instantly torn to pieces if they went underwater. Others marvel at how he managed to kill one, asking if he actually fought underwater. A bitter hater snipes that if he had this info, he should have shared it sooner. But someone instantly defends him, shutting down the jealous hater right then and there. They snap that because of idiots like him, the top player hates speaking in public. Our main character feels absolutely nothing while watching all the praise flood the chat. The information is useless to him now anyway, so sharing it costs him nothing. Besides, charging Wang Dong earlier was a smart boundary to set. He did not want anyone treating his knowledge as a free source of handouts. Otherwise, they would annoy him to death. Speaking of the devil. A private chat from Wang Dong pings, then another from Gay Shan Yus. Then Zhao and another from Lai Haiyan, his brows furrow in suspicion. Why send them all at once? Another notification asks if he wants to coordinate. With so many messages, he can set up a 5-person private chat room. He approves the prompt, and the other 4 receive a group invitation. The alert asks them to join a 5-person private room he created. Hearing his name, Wang Dong accepts instantly, followed by Gao Chang and Zhu Yil. A girl named Li Xian joins too, so he asks what they all need. The 4 hesitate, having expected a personal one-on-one rather than a group chat. Wang Dong speaks first, asking how to defeat a sea monkey and offering payment. Immediately, Gao Chang, Zhu Yil, and Li Xian chime in with the exact same offer. They clearly assume he possesses some secret strategy, which makes him chuckle in amusement. After a moment, he explains that he simply sliced the beast in half. With a single strike, there was no special trick, meaning they asked the wrong person. He leaves the chat right after, having assumed their sudden team-up meant something major. Instead, it was only about this. Once he departs, ownership transfers to Wang Dong. The remaining four sit in brief silence before Gao Chang finally speaks up. She tells them her intuition says he was honest about slicing the monster easily. Wang Dong sighs at the massive power gap between them and the mysterious expert. Zhu Yil points out that according to the shared info, sea monkeys are manageable. As long as they remain cautious, defeating one shouldn't pose an impossible challenge. Various attribute potions and gear can boost their strength alongside their unique talents. Li Xian quickly nods in agreement with her companion, Zhu Yil. Meanwhile, he finishes his steak, digs into half a fresh watermelon, and opens a soda. His current lifestyle is incredibly comfortable. While others fight to survive, he relaxes. Climbing onto the roof of his car, he stretches out under the open air. Resting his hands behind his head, he watches the ocean stars as his thoughts drift. Suddenly, a sharp alarm rings out, warning him of nearby hostile life. He leaps off the vehicle, rushing southeast toward his perimeter fence immediately. His awake goblin defenders follow him. Near the fence, under the moonlight, he spots it. A massive female sea monkey floats on the water, glaring with pure rage. His system scan shows it has a strength stat of 4. With high constitution and spirit, she is tougher and feels far less pain than males. She is a typical threat, designed to test survivors after their initial 7-day shield. The interface notes her intense hostility and strongly advises immediate elimination. Looking at the power difference, his saber makes this a total breeze. In fact, with his saber, cutting her down will be as easy as killing a chicken. He wonders if the male he killed earlier was her mate, as half her body rises. Staring up, she looks ready to eat him alive while letting out piercing shrieks. She would have lunged already if not for the protective barrier guarding his island. He murmurs to himself he will give her a fair shot at a fight. He walks the coast with his blade, the angry creature tracking his every step. Boarding the very speedboat where the male died, her primal instincts completely snap. Blind rage consumes her, driven by her species' natural urge to kill him. He waits silently on deck, tracking her location through his system screen. She can't ambush him from below, leaving a direct head-on attack as her only option. With a massive splash, she leaps toward him under the moonlight, his blade ready. Cold and sharp, he grips the weapon with one hand and slashes upward during the collision. But this time it is not a simple one-shot kill. Sensing danger, the sea monkey panics. It shields itself with its arms midair, successfully blocking his saber from making a direct hit. A massive staggering force transfers into his body, but his enhanced stats and solid build easily exceed the monkey, letting him stand firm. The female crashes onto his deck. Luckily, the boat is sturdy enough, otherwise that heavy impact would have smashed a massive hole. He yanks the saber out of its shattered ribcage and swings a heavy second strike. Having sacrificed its arms to block the first blow, the monkey cannot stop the next hit. It dies instantly. Looking down at the blood-splattered deck, he silently criticizes his own careless approach. Next time he encounters a creature like this, his strikes must be much cleaner. He leaps back onto the dry shore with his weapon, that sloppy first strike. Sprayed tons of filthy blood all over his cold-proof suit, so he decides to go get changed. He orders the goblins to clean the boat and throw the carcass to his carnivorous plants. Ducking into the cabin, he quickly reemerges in a fresh suit while his helpers start scrubbing. 2 goblins wash the deck with seawater, while 2 others drag the female body away. Finding himself with free time, he walks over to watch the ravenous plants devouring the corpse. The eastern carnivorous plant shows a cheerful status on his panel. Its active abilities are entanglement and rapid digestion, according to the description. Although grown from ordinary seeds, feeding on the sea monkey carcass has triggered a slight mutation. He can keep feeding it monster bodies to encourage further growth, and eventually use rare items to advance it to a higher tier. A helpful system note explains that all island plants automatically recognize him as their master. This means there is absolutely zero risk of them turning wild. Honestly, this whole situation is starting to feel like a cozy farming game, prompting some deep theories about this world. He recalls ancient texts mentioning Giksu, a massive, bottomless chasm located billions of miles east of the Bohai Sea, where all waters eventually flow. Looking at the strange items he fished up over the last few days, he suspects this ocean might actually be the final resting place for dying worlds. Otherwise, why would treasure chests contain random relics from entirely different dimensions? Of course, this is just wild speculation that a beginner cannot easily verify. He dismisses the thoughts and gently touches the plant, which sways back happily. It lacks true sentience, but magical instincts make it feel bonded to him. He checks the scrubbing goblins and scans the quiet water surface for hidden threats. Finding nothing unusual, he walks back to his parked Toyota inside the wooden fence. Climbing inside, he strips off his gear and habitually blasts the cold air conditioning. The night passes peacefully, and he sleeps like a baby until the morning dawn. The system pings him to claim his daily bait reward and a special 3-day chest. A beautiful container, far fancier than the single-day version, appears in his arms. This premium chest yields 20 island fragments, easily beating out a 5-star drop. Talk about hitting the jackpot, a wide grin spreads across his face. Thanks to his double happiness perk, he receives 40 fragments and immediately activates them. The island expands by 40 square meters, totaling 301. With this bonus, his Constitution attribute officially breaks past the value of 10. The system pings to congratulate him and unlocks a brand new combat tier on his interface. Opening his panel, he views his stats, level 2 Lord with 301 square meters. Experience reaches 301 out of 400, age 23, strength is 6.8. His physique is 7 plus 3, while his spirit is 4.6 plus 3. His total combat power rating is Ordinary Tier 6, with a Black Iron Tier 0 on top. Ordinary Tier 6 is his baseline power, while Black Iron 0 accounts for weapons and gear. Including talents and island bonuses, he wonders what levels the top rankers have reached elsewhere. He certainly does not feel like the strongest survivor in all the novice zones. Water Blue Star had 20 billion people, excluding those under 14 and the elderly. That leaves 10 billion. At 5,000 per region, there are 2 million regions. Out of those millions, some must have triple S talent. His modest strength is nothing. He shakes off the thoughts, walks into the cabin, and prepares to cook breakfast. After dealing with his hunger, he picks up his black iron fishing rod and heads out. He is pretty impatient to test the feel of this brand new fishing rod. His insight skill scans the water, but nearby chests are only 1 or 2 stars. None are worth casting for until he spots a 5-star chest 5 meters deep. Fishing is highly recommended. He locks down the exact spot. Bait is cast, he waits. 10 minutes later, he yanks the rod with brute force. Insight reveals a 5-star ordinary monster treasure chest rising from the deep. It holds an ordinary merman, and he must slay it to get the reward. His fishing skill note says that great strength will yield miracles. Merman possesses Strength 6, Constitution 6, and Level 4 Spirit. It wields a spear and possesses the Merman Shriek skill, which emits a piercing sound. This skill attacks the enemy spirit when in danger, based on their relative attributes. It has a combat level of Ordinary Tier 4 to 6. The system note says this half-fish creature has formidable combat power in water. But its strength drops massively on land, and its head is its main weakness. The system suggests dodging the Shriek and Spear, recommending long-range firearms. Thanks to his heavy-duty new rod, he relies on pure, raw brute force. This is his first 5-star monster chest, and trust me, the danger is real. He drags the chest ashore, touches it, and pops it open. A bright white light flashes, and a half-fish merman materializes on the dry land. What an ugly thing, he mutters, comparing it to those gross sea monkeys. Before the startled monster can even react, he draws his pistol and fires. At point-blank range, he does not miss, but his shots miss the vital skull. That is because the merman immediately guards its head with both scaly arms. It unleashes a piercing shriek, and the sonic wave hits him instantly. Fortunately, his spirit attribute is nearly double the monster's, saving his mind. His head only throbs slightly, with no other side effects. That screech was close, he grunts, squeezing the trigger to fire again. Each bullet drills a bloody hole, but the monster's thick scales protect it. The old-fashioned handgun has low lethality against such dense muscles and heavy defense. Driven completely mad by the pain, the merman locks its eyes on him. It hurls its heavy spear, but his insight predicts the path perfectly. He dodges, knowing that a direct hit would have skewered him completely. Now weaponless, the beast lies on the ground with a savage, helpless glare. On land, it cannot even stand. Stripped of its weapons, it is just dinner. Waiting to be slaughtered, saber up, he accelerates and charges. The half-grown merman has zero time. His blade strikes its neck, and seeing that one strike did not sever it completely, he leaps back to avoid the bloody spray. The creature's ferocity drops into a bewildered, incredulous look, and its Body slams onto the ground in a spreading pool of blood. The system pings him for successfully slaying the ordinary merman, awarding a chest that holds one ordinary mermaid guard, but his double happiness trait multiplies that to 2. The guards have 6 strength, 6 constitution, 4 spirit, and 100 loyalty. They have die-hard loyalty, implanted spear weapons, and a merman shriek combat skill. Their level is ordinary tier 4 to 6, needing 10 ordinary merman pearls and 5 liters of elite merman blood to upgrade to elite merman guards. A bright flash, the corpse vanishes, leaving only blood on the ground. In its place, 2 stout mermaid guards appear half-prone. He tells them to dive straight in. Grateful, they thank their master with pure joy on their ferocious faces. They crawl on their arms to the edge. Splash, they dive. He walks to the edge and commands his new guards to dive down, circle the entire island, and report what lies at the bottom. They nod and plunge deep, even with his water-repelling bead. He has never gone under himself, but with these 2 guards on his side, curiosity gets the better of him. 10 minutes later, they surface and report that the rock layer beneath the island is about 5 meters deep, meaning the entire island is actually floating. Better yet, the sea is only around 100 meters deep, a very shallow sea indeed. He immediately asks if they spotted any treasure chests. They ask what chests he means, totally bewildered, invisible. They cannot see them. Either they exist between illusion and reality, or they only become visible once out of seawater. He tells them to wait while he dives, since it is only 100 meters deep, with his stats and that bead. He can dive easily. He already dealt with the sea monkeys, so he strips to his shorts and plunges in. The 2 guards flank him 1 meter underwater. The moment he enters, his eyes nearly pop. This underwater world is filled with floating chests, a damaged wooden chest containing a tattered tent, a half-star ordinary wooden chest with 500 milliliters of soda, a half-star ordinary pet chest containing a pet snow rabbit, a 2-star ordinary servant treasure chest containing 1 servant with 60 initial loyalty. Seriously, these chests seem to have a life of their own. Instead of staying put, they swim around like schools of fish. He reaches for a 1-star chest, but it dodges him. They are incredibly fast down here. With his stubborn temper, how could he let a chest slip away? After a 1-minute standoff guided by insight, he finally grabs one, but the system suddenly pings him, warning that the novice period is still active. This illegal chest fishing is a violation, and he must release it or face punishment. That single word completely kills his mood. He drops the chest like a hot potato, curses, flips it off, and decides it is not worth diving deeper if he cannot take anything. He swims back up, grabs a protruding rock at the edge, and climbs out. He orders the guards to patrol the waters and report any anomalies. They nod obediently, heading back to his cabin. He swallows the second Tier 1 marrow cleansing pill. Immediately, his stomach reacts. Looks like this pill is doing wonders for clearing out his stomach. 20 minutes later, he emerges from the makeshift toilet, pale and shaking. He checks his status panel. Both strength and constitution are looking better. Both stats reached 8, though his spirit remains under the 5-point mark. After resting, his color returns. He exhales heavily and grabs the fishing rod. Since diving is impossible, fishing and netting remain his only real choices. He sits down and opens the global chat, since fishing alone is boring. Talking to goblins is unthinkable, and today the chat seems even gloomier. Someone laments that life is getting harder with no food, drink, or comfort. Another person suggests jumping into the sea to end their misery. They joke about donating supplies first so nothing goes to waste. A third user tells them to drop dead, while others ask about other regions. Someone replies that only the top-tier survivors are actually living comfortably. The rest are just background characters, barely scraping by. Someone else compares it to raising vipers, a brutal survival of the fittest. Although energy crystals were hyped, yesterday's reality proved otherwise. Ordinary survivors stand almost zero chance of catching a crystal with standard bait. His system flags a black iron chest 10 meters down, but he has no proper bait. He cannot fish it up. After all, you cannot make something out of nothing. But get this, his newly improved strength actually unlocks a deeper level of perception. Previously, his insight only revealed the star ratings of chests, down to 5 meters deep. He could not see the actual contents inside until they were hooked. Now, after taking the second pill, he perceives both details instantly. 3 meters down, his system identifies 5 2-star chests and 3 1-star chests. They contain a crystal, a fishing rod upgrade blueprint, and a blade. He spots a spring blade. His insight maps the area clearly now. The seafloor appears as a 3-dimensional layout instead of floating text. Every chest shows up in its exact position, including a 5-star chest. 5 meters down, a special wooden chest holds a one-time troop altar. The user simply feeds ordinary energy crystals into the device to activate it. More crystals mean stronger troops, up to a limit of 10 soldiers. A maximum of 10 crystals can be inserted for a single summon. Before summoning, he can enter a short phrase to guide their type. This determines the general direction of the troops before the altar breaks. His eyes gleam. He hooks some enhanced bait and prepares to cast his line. He casts toward the special chest, and 2 minutes later it bites. The rod bends deeply, feeling far heavier than any other 5-star chest. Fortunately, his rod is black iron grade now, preventing it from snapping. Pulling with all his strength, he drags the chest onto land. Thanks to his double reward skill, 2 stone altars appear before him. They stand about a meter wide. He rushes inside to grab 20 crystals. Returning to the deck, he slots 10 crystals into one of the altars. The system prompts him to type a short phrase to set the direction. He types the words, "No food needed," and begins the summon. Brilliant white light erupts as 10 undead greatsword skeletons appear. Out of the glow steps a squad of tall, silent skeletal warriors. A standard greatsword skeleton appears, possessing level 4 strength and constitution. It has level 2 spirit, no special skills, and carries a basic greatsword. This places its combat rating at ordinary tier 4, slightly better than a small skeleton. They represent the lowest tier of undead, completely under the summoner's absolute control. Their highest upgrade potential maxes out at the black iron elite grade. To evolve them requires 10 basic white sulfurs and 1 green sulfur. Once the bright flash fades, the summoning altar crumbles into ancient stone rubble. 10 skeletons drop to one knee before him, but one stands out from the rest. This standout possesses strength level 7, constitution level 6, and level 4 spirit. It wields a basic greatsword and possesses the chaotic cloak swordplay skill. This puts its combat power at ordinary tier 7 to 9, indicating rare potential. It holds the potential to evolve into a silver-grade skeleton. He names the elite skeleton general, appointing him as captain over the other 9. The remaining summons quickly bow in submission, acknowledging their new commander. Undead at this level cannot speak yet, operating on very basic instincts. True communication will likely only unlock after they evolve. That does not stop him from giving orders, so he summons the goblins over. He tells them to find living quarters for these 10 intimidating skeleton soldiers. The scurrying goblins lead them off, while he spends 10 more crystals on the second altar. Since undead do not require food, they are the ideal choice right now. On a tiny island, maintaining living troops would be a major logistical headache. Having to provide food, water, and shelter is a hassle he can easily avoid. Undead are perfect because they require 0 upkeep, rest, or resources. The system pings, announcing the successful summoning of a corpse clan unit. 10 ordinary bandage mummies appear, possessing level 5 strength and constitution. Equipped with level 2 spirit, they use white bandages as their weapons. Their power is evaluated at tier 5, the absolute lowest of the mummy class. Even so, they remain completely loyal, operating under his absolute command. Their peak evolution potential is a black iron grade elite mummy. To evolve them, he needs 10 ordinary white bandages, making him wonder about his path. He wonders if he is becoming an undead lord, but he quickly shakes the thought away. None of these 10 mummies have exceptional stats, but he remains positive. Knowing he cannot get lucky every time, he selects one mummy to lead the group. The new captain nods mechanically, unable to speak just like the skeletons. They understand basic orders but cannot talk, which suits him perfectly for now. These are low-level troops anyway, so he calls the goblins over once more. He orders them to guide the mummies, leaving the goblins feeling slightly overwhelmed. They are loyal, but they still worry about all these new, undead arrivals. Luckily, noticing that these silent giants cannot speak brings them some comfort. It means they are still highly valuable to their master for communication. As the goblins lead them away, a system alert suddenly catches his attention. His prosperity score is the first to exceed 1,000 points worldwide. This milestone rewards him with an elite first-grade prosperity chest, which he opens immediately. Inside, he finds a 100 square meter housing item. It is a fully furnished, two-story villa waiting for him to place down. The island immediately scales to 100 square meters, finally, a real bed. He realized his biggest headache is dismantling the wooden cabin to clear space. Moving the cars is another pain alongside that annoying protective thorn fence. Talk about shooting himself in the foot, since that barrier now hinders his expansion. It has to come down. He summons his bandaged mummies to crawl up. Skeletons with giant great swords climb up, and goblins quickly run on over. He orders them to tear down the thorny ring as soon as possible. They obey. Goblins, mummies, and skeletons get right to work on the fence. The dismantling process is incredibly easy for the undead, since thorns cannot hurt them. That wall goes down fast, and the thorns are neatly piled for firewood. Once the fence is gone, he clears out the wooden cabin land next. With the busy work done, he moves all his storage chests to another spot. Double happiness triggers and gives him 2 villa models resembling little Lego blocks. The system asks if he wants to place the massive villa right here. It warns him to confirm first, then run 10 meters away from the area. He confirms and runs. Getting crushed by a building would be a joke. A massive roar follows as a 2-story, 100 square meter villa materializes right there. He steps up, pushes the door open, and walks right inside. Even though there is no running water or electricity yet, it is beautiful. It beats his old cabin. He steps outside and tells the goblins to help. They haul the heavy chests inside, allowing him to grab his fishing rod again. He places his skeletal guards and mummies around the villa for maximum security. Before long, his total island prosperity score explodes past the 1,000 mark. Honestly, talk about a massive gap. While others struggle, he is basically vacationing. Joe Yell, sitting at second on the global leaderboard, stares in disbelief. His score is barely under 100, while our guy is over 1,000. Joe goes completely silent as the global chat absolutely bursts with rumors.